Huagua, Jiangnan City Number 2 High School. Today was Talent Awakening Day for the senior year. The Awakening Hall was packed with people. On the raised platform, the nearly bald old principal tapped the microphone. Students, 2 years ago, Dugu, one of the 4 human emperors, died in battle. The demons seized the opportunity to counterattack, and the human defensive lines have been retreating step by step. This is the worst of times, and also the best of times. It has been a full 100 years since humanity last produced a new SSS-Rank talent. Today, among you, perhaps the next human emperor will be born. Applause exploded instantly. Everyone listened with their blood boiling. Everyone except me. I sat in the last row, staring at the podium, with only one thought left in my mind. What kind of place is this? Demons? Awakening? Human emperor? Wasn't I just playing games at home a moment ago? This has to be a dream. I raised my hand and pinched my thigh. But the moment my hand landed, I felt something was wrong. Why is it so soft? A cold voice came from beside me. Have you touched enough? I stiffly turned my head. A girl with a high ponytail was glaring at me. Her name was Tang Xia, my deskmate, and also the unlucky victim whose leg I had accidentally touched. Su Yan. She enunciated each word. I treat you like a brother. What do you treat me as? I immediately withdrew my hand. Misunderstanding. You nearly pressed fingerprints into my leg, and you're telling me it was a misunderstanding? I thought it was my own leg. Tang Xia lowered her head to take a look, then looked back up at me. Do you have some kind of misunderstanding about your own legs? I had no time to argue with her. I pinched myself hard. The next second, I shot straight to my feet from the pain. Hiss! The entire hall instantly fell silent. Hundreds of pairs of eyes turned toward me in unison. The old principal frowned. This student, is there something you need? My mind was a complete mess. But Tang Xia was beside me, holding back her laughter. Fine. You want to watch me make a fool of myself, do you? Then let's die together. I raised my hand and pointed at her. Reporting to the principal, my deskmate wants to be the first to awaken. The smile on Tang Xia's face froze on the spot. When did I? Oh. The old principal's face immediately lit up. Courage is a good thing. Then please come up to the stage, student. Tang Xia suddenly turned and glared at me. She didn't curse out loud, but judging from the shape of her mouth and how hard she was gritting her teeth, she had clearly greeted my entire family from head to toe. Su Yan, just you wait. She snapped the pen in her hand into 2 pieces and got up onto the stage. I waved at her. Good luck, warrior. You'd better pray I fail my awakening. Why? That way, I can kill you without any reservations. The staff member signaled for Tang Xia to place her hand on the awakening crystal. The crystal lit up. A crimson light suddenly rose. A wave of heat spread outward, and startled cries immediately rang out in the awakening hall. The staff member announced loudly, Tang Xia, B-rank talent, fire zeal. The entire hall boiled over. B-rank, and it's a combat-type fire talent. In past years, this would at least place in the school's top 5, right? On the platform, the school leaders nodded repeatedly. Tang Xia also let out a sigh of relief. She walked back, planted both hands on the desk, and raised her chin at me. Well, what? Call me daddy. I leaned back against my chair. A mere B rank, and look how arrogant you are. Tang Xia narrowed her eyes. If you're so capable, you go. Just wait. I pointed at the awakening platform. I'll awaken an SSS-Rank talent in a bit and broaden your horizons. You? She laughed like a honking goose. If you really awaken an SSS-Rank talent, You'll what? I'll kowtow to you on the spot. Deal. The awakening continued. Li Chong, D-rank talent, swift wind step. Zhang Tao, C-rank talent, enhanced forging. Zhou Hai, F-rank talent, night vision. Some people cheered. Some fell silent. Some had tears falling the moment they stepped down from the awakening platform. I also used this time to quickly merge with the memories in my mind. 200 years ago, the land of divine punishment descended upon Blue Star. Monsters invaded. From then on, humanity entered the era of universal awakening. Talents were divided from low to high into 9 ranks: F, E, D, C, B, A, S, SS, and SSS. The vast majority of people could never surpass B rank in their entire lives. A rank appeared maybe once among 100,000 people. S-Rank was difficult to find even among 10 million. As for SSS-Rank, in 200 years, only 4 people had successfully awakened one. They were the 4 human emperors of humanity. And now, human emperor Dugu had already died in battle. Humanity urgently needed new top-tier combat power. Next, Su Yan. It was finally my turn. I stood up and walked toward the awakening platform. Quite a few people around me looked over. Tang Xia shouted from behind. Don't be nervous. Awakening in F rank isn't embarrassing either. I didn't even turn my head. Get ready to kowtow. The staff member pointed at the crystal. Place your hand on it and keep it there for 30 seconds. Understood. I pressed my hand onto the crystal. Buzz. Light bloomed. Countless tiny strands of energy drilled into my body through my palm. 30 seconds later, the crystal returned to calm. The staff member glanced at the result, and his voice suddenly rose sharply. Su Yan, S-rank talent. The entire hall exploded. The old principal was so excited that he stood up directly. What talent? The staff member's expression suddenly turned strange. He paused for 2 seconds before continuing. S-rank talent. Tenfold absorption. The awakening hall fell silent for a moment. Then laughter erupted. Talent information also appeared before my eyes. Tenfold absorption, S-rank. Effect. Possesses an appetite far beyond ordinary people and gains tenfold nutrient absorption ability. I stared at the line of text and fell silent. Tang Xia clutched her stomach, laughing so hard she collapsed onto the desk. Tenfold absorption? Su Yan, are you going to save humanity by eating in the future? On the stage, the old principal slowly sat back down. The more excited he had been just now, the more disappointed he was now. What a pity. An S-rank talent. But why did it have to be a useless type? Talents were roughly divided into combat type, support type, and useless type. Combat types were the most precious. Support types also had practical value. Useless types, however, showed no growth direction at all. 100 years ago, someone had awakened the SS-rank talent, godly sleepiness. In the end, aside from being exceptionally good at sleeping, it had no use whatsoever. I heard that person was still in seclusion even now. Not martial seclusion. Blanket seclusion. The staff member sighed. Student Su Yan, you may step down. I took a deep breath and released the crystal. It's fine. At least it's S-rank. As long as the basic bonus is still there, I might not be without a chance to become stronger. Thank you, teacher. I turned and walked back. But after only 2 steps, a series of voices suddenly exploded in my mind. Hidden awakening complete. You have awakened SSS-rank talent. Otherworldly hero. You have awakened SSS-rank talent. Chosen one. You have awakened SSS-rank talent. Divine shackles. You have awakened SSS-rank talent. Supreme authority. You have awakened SSS-rank talent. Elemental conversion. You have awakened SSS-rank talent. Descendant of the gods. You have awakened SSS-rank talent. Perfect attributes. You have awakened SSS-rank talent. Eyes of the gods. You have awakened SSS-rank talent. Void rift. My steps abruptly stopped. 9. A full 9 SSS-rank talents. 1 second ago, I was still the laughingstock of the entire school. The next second, I alone possessed a power never seen in human history. I nearly burst out laughing on the spot, but I held it in. I couldn't expose myself now. A single SSS-rank talent was enough to shake all of humanity. 9 appearing together? I was afraid that before I even walked out of the school, I'd be snatched away by every major faction and sliced up for research. I forcefully suppressed my excitement and walked back to the last row. Tang Xia immediately leaned over. Quick, let me see. Has the future Rice Emperor returned? I sat down. Had enough laughing? Nope. She slapped the desk. An S-rank talent. How impressive. In the future, if anyone's family can't finish their food, they can just look for you. I ignored her and asked directly. Can a person really only awaken one talent? Tang Xia was stunned. Of course. You're sure? It's written on the first page of the textbook. From ancient times until now, including the 4 human emperors, everyone has only had one talent. She touched my forehead with the back of her hand. Don't tell me you were traumatized? I swatted her hand away, just asking casually. That was what I said, but a storm had already surged in my heart. Unprecedented. Those 4 words were not enough to describe my current situation. I quickly checked the talent information. Otherworldly hero, SSS. Luck and initial 5-dimensional attributes are raised to the maximum. Encounter trigger rate increased to 100%. Chosen 1. SSS. Charm and growth attributes are raised to the maximum. Can equip gear from all classes. Divine shackles, SSS. Can place shackles on gods or divine avatars and forcibly sign contracts with them. Descendant of the gods, SSS. Mastery of all elements. Damage against demons increased by 50%. Critical rate increased by 20%. Gains 1 divine blessing per day. Void Rift, SSS. Gains infinite storage space and control over the power of the void. The more I read, the harder it became to control the corners of my mouth. 1 SSS-Rank talent could create a human emperor. Then what about 9? Above a human emperor, what would that be? 2 hours later, the awakening ceremony ended. The students returned to their classrooms one after another. After awakening a talent, one could enter the land of divine punishment. There were wild monsters, bosses, dungeons, and maps of different levels. The attributes, equipment, and skills gained by leveling there could all be brought back to reality. College entrance exam results were also directly tied to divine punishment levels. Seeing that I had been silent the whole time, Tang Xia thought I was still worried about my talent. She nudged my arm. Let's go. Where? The land of divine punishment. She crossed her arms, deliberately trying to look casual. Don't worry. Daddy won't abandon you. I'll carry you through leveling. I looked at her. A line of text suddenly appeared above her head. She has no malicious intent in mocking you. She is worried you won't be able to get into university and genuinely wants to help you level up. So this was Eyes of the Gods. It could even see a person's true thoughts? Warmth rose in my heart, but I deliberately teased her. You'll carry me? Tang Xia raised her chin. A B-rank combat talent carrying a life-class rice bucket. Got a problem with that? Yes. What problem? I'm afraid you'll drag me down. Tang Xia froze at first, then became so angry that she threw a book straight at me. Su Yan, get lost. 2 minutes later, I pressed my hand onto the linking crystal at the upper left corner of my desk. A faint light lit up. My consciousness rapidly sank. When I opened my eyes again, I was already standing inside a golden temple. A goddess in a white dress hovered in midair. Traveler, welcome to the land of divine punishment. Detected that this is your first time entering. Please create a divine punishment ID. I was too lazy to come up with a name. Random. Randomization successful. Your ID is Demon Slayer. My eyes lit up. Not a bad name. Direct enough. Please choose a class. Warrior, Knight, Mage, Priest, Archer, Summoner. The class list quickly unfolded. I didn't hesitate. Warrior. Melee combat. Direct confrontation. That was a man's romance. Class selection successful. Detected that you simultaneously possess the SSS-Rank talents Otherworldly Hero, Chosen 1, and Descendant of the Gods. Hidden special class triggered. Godwrath Mage. Do you wish to set Godwrath Mage as your main class? My breathing instantly grew heavy. At the same time, Eyes of the Gods gave a prompt. Target exceeds current scope of cognition. Unable to complete analysis. Please choose carefully. Even an SSS-Rank talent couldn't see through it? Then what was there to be careful about? Choose it. Main class confirmed. Godwrath Mage. Warrior class retained as secondary class. Synchronizing attributes. 10 seconds later, a panel popped up. ID, Demon Slayer. Level 1. Main class, Godwrath Mage. Secondary class, Warrior. HP, 150, additional increase, 5,000. MP, 100, additional increase, 3,000. Attack, 20, additional increase, 200. Spell power, 40, additional increase, 250. Defense, 10, additional increase, 100. Magic defense, 15, additional increase, 150. Speed, 10, additional increase, 60. Luck, max. Charm, max. Constitution, 10. Spirit, 10. Strength, 10. Intelligence, 10. Agility, 10. Skills, Judgment, Sanction, Purification. Looking at the panel, I had only one feeling. Absurd. A normal player's initial attributes were randomly between 1 and 10. All 5 of my dimensions were maxed. and perfect attributes had directly raised my panel to a completely unreasonable level on top of that. Others were level 1 newcomers. I was more like a boss wearing the skin of a level 1 newbie. I immediately checked the skills. Judgment LV1 applies a judgment mark regardless of the target's level. If the target's intelligence is lower than yours, judgment succeeds. The target enters a weakened state for 5 seconds and suffers 500 base magic damage plus 70% spell power scaling. Sanction LV1 ignores magic defense and buff effects, dealing 800 base magic damage plus 200% spell power scaling to the target. If the target is under judgment, deals an additional 1000 base magic damage plus 300% spell power scaling. Judgment first, then sanction. With my current spell power, an ordinary monster probably wouldn't even have time to scream after one combo. I continued looking down. Purification LV1. What does that mean? I tapped it twice. Still question marks. 3 skills. 2 were already exaggerated enough. But this last one didn't even provide information. Clearly, it was hiding something even bigger. The goddess spoke again. Please adjust your appearance. No adjustment. Do you wish to enter the land of divine punishment? I picked up the newbie greatsword and walked straight toward the Stargate. Enter. White light swallowed my vision. The next second, I appeared in beginner village number 1996, Nashi Farm. People were continuously teleporting in around me. So this is the land of divine punishment. It's way too realistic. C-rank combat talent looking for a team. Need a knight. Someone tanky. I didn't stop. Carrying the newbie greatsword, I walked straight out of the farm. Nashi Farm had long since been overrun by the Wolf clan. Players needed to fight their way out of the encirclement here and head to the next map, the Forest Kingdom. Just as I left the farm, I saw my first monster. Werewolf. Level 2. HP, 250. Attack, 50. Defense, 45. Magic defense, 50. Speed, 15. The werewolf was nearly 3 meters tall. Its entire body was covered in black fur. Its claws were longer than daggers. An ordinary level 1 player only had 20 or 30 attack, making it difficult to even break through its defense. That was why teachers repeatedly emphasized that newcomers had to form teams. But I didn't need to. I walked over with my greatsword. Nearby, 4 players were surrounding and attacking another werewolf. The warrior tanked in front. The mage, archer, and summoner hid behind and unleashed attacks like mad. Only the last 10% left. Hold on. Don't let it rush over. They had fought for a long time before wearing the werewolf down to low health. At that moment, the warriors saw me. Bro, you're alone? Yeah. Then why are you still walking forward? To kill monsters. All 4 of them froze. The archer hurriedly shouted. Come back. A level 2 werewolf isn't something one person can fight. Team up first. I didn't turn back. Because the werewolf had already noticed me. Roar. It pushed off with all 4 limbs and pounced toward me. Its sharp claws tore through the air, heading straight for my head. Its speed was indeed fast. But in my eyes, still not enough. I shifted my feet and dodged sideways. The werewolf's claw missed. Now, I tightened my grip on the greatsword and slashed horizontally in a backhand strike. The blade instantly tore open its chest. Critical hit. Minus 666. The werewolf didn't even have time to let out a second roar before crashing to the ground. Killed level 2 werewolf. EXP plus 100. Obtained fresh wolf meat. I shook the blood from the blade. One sword, Descendant of the Gods, increased my damage against demons by 50% and additionally increased my critical rate by 20%. That attack had indeed triggered a critical hit. But even without the critical, this werewolf wouldn't have been able to withstand it. I put away the greatsword and looked directly into the distance. Beginner monsters? Boring. If I was going to farm, I'd farm a dungeon. And solo it. The 4 players nearby were still standing in place. They stared fixedly at the werewolf's corpse, their expressions as if someone had punched them right in the face. 666? Level 1. And that was a normal attack? Are we playing the same land of divine punishment? The few of them were so busy staring at me that they completely forgot they were still in battle. The low-health werewolf suddenly knocked the warrior away and pounced into the backline. Screams rang out one after another. In just a few short seconds, all 4 of them fell. White light rose. A full party wipe and return to town. I glanced at them and silently shook my head. Getting distracted while fighting monsters? Young people. Weak mentality. The level cap of the beginner map was level 50. After reaching max level and completing the breakthrough mission, one could unlock the next map. So my goal was simple. Reach level 50 as quickly as possible. There were many ways to obtain experience in the land of divine punishment, killing monsters, completing quests, and exploring secret realms. But the most efficient method was still dungeons. Lots of EXP, lots of rewards. With enough luck, equipment and items could also drop. I glanced at the time. There were still more than 2 hours before school ended. Enough. First, I would go to the strongest dungeon in the beginner map, the level 50 Wolf King Valley. Solo it while severely underleveled. One run to soar into the heavens. Let me first see how much EXP I still need to reach level 2. I opened my attribute panel and looked at the experience bar. The next second, my eyes nearly popped out. Current EXP, 100,999,999,999,999. How much? I rubbed my eyes, then looked again. It was still that absurdly long number. Unwilling to believe it, I directly took out a magnifying glass from my void pouch and counted the zeros on the panel one by one. After finishing, I fell silent. 99,999,999,999. Just to go from level 1 to level 2. What the hell am I supposed to level with? I cursed at the panel, my emotions so intense that even passing players were startled into taking a detour around me. Killing a level 2 werewolf only gave 100 EXP. At this rate, I'd have to kill nearly a billion of them. Never mind whether there were enough wolves to kill. By the time I finished, humanity and the demons might have already shaken hands and made peace. No. I immediately opened the class tab. It must be because of Godwrath Mage. The class description unfolded. Godwrath Mage. Time will vanish in the long river of history, but you shall gain immortality. After choosing this hidden special class, your level will be permanently locked at level 1. After the EXP bar is filled, you may receive a godhood mission. Complete the mission to condense your divine spark and become a heaven-piercing archmage. I stared at the last 2 lines, and my breathing instantly quickened. I couldn't level up, but once the experience was filled, I could directly start a godhood mission. In other words, others worked hard to reach level 50 merely to leave the beginner map. Once I filled my EXP, I'd be heading straight toward becoming a god. You should have said so earlier. I closed the panel on the spot and walked away with the greatsword on my shoulder. 90-something billion, right? Today, I'll farm my first small goal. Wolf King Valley. I had to go. Not long after I walked away, white light flickered ahead. A knight wearing heavy plate armor appeared on the road, hurriedly rushing toward Nashi Farm. Eyes of the gods swept over him. Player level, 50. Talent, B rank. Status, eager to turn in a quest. Perfect. I stopped him. Little bro, directions. The knight suddenly slammed on the brakes. He looked at me, then at himself. Finally, he pointed at his own nose. What did you call me? Little bro. You're level 1. Correct. I'm level 50. I can tell. The knight's face instantly darkened. Then you still call me little bro? I patted his shoulder armor. Titles aren't important. How do I get to Wolf King Valley? How long does it take? The knight stared at my hand like he wanted to chop it off. But he held back. Follow this road west, pass through the rotting swamp, then climb over Blackstone Mountain. At full speed, it takes about 2 hours. After speaking, he looked me over suspiciously. What are you going to Wolf King Valley for? To level up. There's only one level 50 dungeon there. I know. So, I'm going to farm the dungeon. The knight froze for 2 seconds, then burst out laughing. You? Yeah, me. I sent him a team invitation. Want to come along? The other party has rejected the team invitation. He rejected it really fast. The knight looked at me as if he were looking at a patient who had just escaped from a treatment center. Bro, did you just awaken and still don't understand anything? Wolf King Valley is the hardest dungeon in the beginner map. I have a B rank talent and I'm level 50. Even then, I still have to form a full team of 5, with warrior, mage, and priest all indispensable. Even with the full setup, whether we can clear it depends on luck. He pointed at the level marker above my head. You, a level 1 newbie. What are you going to clear it with? I patted the sword on my back. With this, the knight laughed in anger. Listen to my advice. Go back to the farm and obediently kill werewolves. Otherwise, you won't even reach Wolf King Valley before dying halfway there. One could revive in the land of divine punishment. But death caused EXP loss and applied a weakened state. The weakened penalty lasted at least 1 hour. The higher the level, the longer it lasted. I nodded. Got it. Thanks. If you got it, then go back. I got the route. After saying that, I turned and left. Behind me, there was a moment of silence. Then the knight lowered his voice and unleashed a string of curses, the core meaning of which was only one thing. I had a death wish. I didn't look back. There was no use saying anything now. Once I trampled the dungeon record under my feet, he would naturally understand. I followed the forum guide and headed straight for Wolf King Valley. Although the journey was far, with my 100 speed, traveling at full force was no problem. As for monsters along the way, if they dared block the road, I'd cut them down. If they didn't, then they had some sense. I had only just left Nashi Farm when a solemn notification suddenly rang out. SSS-Rank talent, Descendant of the Gods, begins daily blessing. You have obtained Dragon Phoenix Blood times 20. Detected that this is your first time receiving Divine Blessing. Additional Beginner Blessing Gift Pack issued. You have obtained SSS-Rank weapon, Azura Sword. My steps suddenly stopped. What sword? Azura Sword. My eyes instantly lit up. An SSS-Rank weapon. Daily items were already good enough, but the first time even gave me an exclusive weapon? This wasn't Descendant of the Gods. This was clearly the God's own son. I immediately opened my void pouch. 20 drops of golden red blood floated inside. Every single drop exuded an intense aura of life. Dragon Phoenix Blood, high grade. After use, immediately restores 5,000 HP and heals 2,000 points of injury. Cooldown, 15 seconds. High-grade healing medicine. On the market, an ordinary high-grade potion capable of restoring 5,000 HP was worth at least 100 gold coins. Divine Punishment gold coins could be exchanged with real-world currency. 1 gold coin was roughly equal to 100 Huawei yuan. In other words, one ordinary high-grade potion was worth 10,000 yuan. I had 20 portions of Dragon Phoenix Blood in my hands. A guaranteed 200,000. Moreover, Dragon Phoenix Blood could also heal injuries, so its true price would only be higher. 200,000. I stared at the Dragon Phoenix Blood, and my heartbeat quickened. For a high school student, this was definitely a huge sum. I could max out a top-tier computer setup right away, and add 3 monitors. Calm down. I patted my face. Think bigger. A mere 200,000 could not shake the Dao heart of a future archmage. The real highlight was the Azura Sword. As soon as the thought moved, a pitch-black greatsword fell into my hand. The blade was long and narrow. Blood-red patterns spread from the hilt all the way to the tip. The moment I gripped it, a cold, killing intent surged into my body along my arm. Its attributes appeared at the same time. Azura Sword, SSS Rank. Equipment type, Greatsword. Equipment level, 1. Constitution, plus 20. Strength, plus 66. Agility, plus 30. Critical rate, plus 100%. Exclusive skill, Azura Slash. The moment I saw the critical rate, my eyelids twitched fiercely. 100% critical rate. Combined with Descendant of the Gods' 50% increased damage against demons. This wasn't a great sword. This was an equalizer of all beings. I continued checking the exclusive skill. Azura Slash LV1. Deals physical damage equal to 100 plus 300% attack to all enemies within 50 meters. Has a 30% chance to inflict area slow. Slow effect decreases from 80% to 40%, lasting 5 seconds. Cooldown, 20 seconds. Cost, none. And it's an area skill? I tightened my grip on the Azura Sword, unable to suppress the corners of my mouth. SSS rank weapons were rare to begin with. Among humanity, there were currently only 6 publicly known in existence. The acquisition threshold for S-rank weapons was already absurdly high. Either kill a boss above level 2000, or ask a Grandmaster Blacksmith to personally forge one. Even then, there was only a probability of producing one. A single S-rank weapon was often worth more than 10 million gold coins. Converted into Huawei yuan, that was over 1 billion. As for SSS rank weapons, There was no public transaction price at all. Even money couldn't buy one. Even more exaggerated was that the Azura sword came with an exclusive skill. According to statistics, among every 10,000 weapons, only one might have an exclusive weapon skill. The 6 existing SSS-rank weapons of humanity all had no exclusive skills, but the Azura sword did. The only problem was that it was only level 1. Normal players would eventually replace it after leveling up. But I was different. Before becoming a god, I would remain at level 1 forever. The Azura sword was practically tailor-made for me. Equip. The Azura sword turned into black light and officially entered my equipment slot. My attributes immediately surged. ID, Demon Slayer. Level 1. Class, Godwrath Mage. Secondary class, Warrior. HP, 5,450. MP, 3,100. Attack, 352. Spell power, 290. Defense, 110. Magic defense, 165. Speed, 100. Luck, max. Charm, max. Skills, Judgment, Sanction, Purification, Azura Slash. Just looking at my panel, I was already enough to crush the vast majority of level 50 players. But I knew very clearly, it still wasn't enough. What I wanted to challenge was the strongest level 50 dungeon, and I wanted to solo it at level 1. This kind of thing was no longer arrogance. It was completely unreasonable. If I wanted to turn something unreasonable into reality, then I had to use an even more unreasonable method. I looked at the talent column. Come out. Elemental Conversion. Elemental Conversion, SSS-Rank, can be used on weapons or skills to convert any attribute within them. This was the true confidence behind my decision to go to Wolf King Valley. While hurrying on my way, I used the Azura sword for experimentation. First, I locked onto an equipment attribute. Strength plus 66. Convert to Constitution. Confirm? Confirm. The Azura sword suddenly trembled. All of its blood-red patterns lit up. In just one short second, the attribute transformation was complete. Strength plus 66, Constitution plus 66. Conversion successful. My HP surged once again. HP, 6,440. It really can be changed? I looked at the Azura sword and laughed. And the more I laughed, the more unhinged it became. Since equipment attributes could be converted, could the way skill damage scale be changed too? I immediately selected Azura Slash. Current damage, 100 plus 300% attack. Convert the attack scaling into HP scaling. The panel went silent for a moment. Then a prompt popped up. Conversion plan feasible. Confirm? Absolutely confirm. Boom. The Azura sword erupted with dazzling blood-red light. The skill description changed accordingly. Azura slash LV1. Deals physical damage equal to 100 plus 300% of HP to all enemies within 50 meters. I stared at the skill panel, and my breathing stopped for a beat. It worked. It actually worked. With my current 6,440 HP, one slash would deal 19,420 base damage. Then, with a guaranteed critical hit, and an extra 50% damage against demons, the final damage would be close to 60,000. A 50-meter range. No cost. Once every 20 seconds. This is still called Azura Slash. I gently stroked the sword's edge. This is called Monster Wipeout. I didn't stop there. If the Azura sword could be modified, then the skills of the Divine Wrath Mage could be modified too. First, Judgment. Judgment condition. If the target's intelligence is lower than your own, Judgment succeeds. Although my intelligence was maxed out, the intelligence of a level 50 boss definitely wouldn't be low. Change it. Convert the intelligence check into a luck check. Conversion successful. If the target's luck is lower than your own, Judgment succeeds. My luck was max. I refused to believe there was any monster in the beginner map with luck higher than mine. In other words, the success rate of Judgment was now infinitely close to 100%. Next, change the damage. 500 plus 70% magic power. Convert it into HP. 500 plus 70% HP. Done. Lastly, Sanction. 800 plus 200% magic power. Convert. 800 plus 200% HP. I also changed the additional damage under Judgment status. 1000 plus 300% magic power. Convert. 1000 plus 300% HP. I quickly ran the numbers. With my current 6,440 HP, sanction plus the additional sanction damage would reach 34,000 base damage. Add the 50% bonus damage against demons. 51,000. If it crit, 102,000. And the Azura sword just happened to give me a 100% critical rate. I closed the panel, and my smile gradually grew wild. What warrior? What mage? From today onward, I would only stack HP. The thicker my health bar, the higher my damage. I could tank, and I could one-shot. Only the living have damage output? No. As long as I'm alive, I am damage output. Wolf King Valley. I looked toward the west. You'd better be able to withstand one slash from me. After that, I traveled at full speed. When the rotten swamp blocked my path, I simply stepped across the monsters and charged through. When the wolf packs on Blackstone Mountain tried to surround me, Azura slash, blood-red sword light exploded outward. Within 50 meters, every werewolf burst into white light at the same time. EXP plus 500, EXP plus 700, EXP plus 650. Notifications flooded the screen like crazy. I didn't even stop walking. More than 2 hours later, a huge valley finally appeared at the end of my vision. Wolf King Valley. I had arrived. The dungeon entrance was packed with players. All of them were level 50. Voices searching for party members rose one after another. Level 50 Wolf King Dungeon. Party already has Knight and Priest. Need one more, looking for strong DPS. Speedrun Party pushing the rankings. Whole party has A-rank combat talents. Only accepting A-rank or above fire mages. Need frontline. Don't apply if your defense is below 800. Looking for experienced archer. No newbies. Carrying the Azura sword on my shoulder, I strode toward the dungeon entrance. The people around me subconsciously looked over. Although the Azura sword's equipment glow had been hidden, its oppressive aura couldn't be concealed. Wherever I walked, the crowd parted to either side. Who is that guy? Don't know him. With that kind of presence, he's probably some big shot from a guild. Why doesn't he have a party? I ignored them and went straight to the dungeon NPC. Someone had mentioned ranking earlier. That interested me. After clearing a divine punishment dungeon, there weren't only basic rewards. There was also a clear time evaluation. The shorter the time, the higher the rating, and the better the rewards. If one entered the historical top 500, there would even be additional ranking rewards. But getting onto the rankings was extremely difficult. According to forum statistics, the average talent level of ranked teams was at least S-rank. Class composition, equipment, and teamwork. None could be missing. Every year on Awakening Day, new geniuses would challenge the rankings. But those who could truly leave their names on the historical leaderboard were few and far between. I opened the clear records for Wolf King Valley. First place, Mo Wen's team. Clear time, 5 minutes 35 seconds. Clear rating, SSS. Second place, Yijibai's team. Clear time, 5 minutes 50 seconds. Clear rating, SSS. Third place, Duga's team. Clear time, 7 minutes 17 seconds. Clear rating, SSS. Fourth place, Li Yueqing's team. Clear time, 8 minutes 36 seconds. Clear rating, SSS. Fifth place, Shen Xiu's team. Clear time, 20 minutes 27 seconds. Clear rating, SS. 10th place, Shui Wuyue's team. Clear time, 28 minutes 9 seconds. Clear rating, SS. I scanned the leaderboard, my expression becoming a little more serious. The top 4 were all teams led by the 4 human emperors. Compared to them, 5th place was more than 10 minutes slower. This was the gulf between SSS-Rank talents and SS-Rank talents. The top 100 rankings had barely changed in decades. It wasn't that later geniuses were weak. It was that those early monsters had been too ruthless. Back when they were still rookies, they had already pushed the dungeon records to heights that future generations could hardly touch. Now, they were the peak combat forces of humanity. It was precisely because those people guarded the front lines that Blue Star had survived until today. Especially the human emperor Dugu. He had already died in battle. Yet his name still remained in 3rd place. I stared at the 2 characters Dugu for a few seconds, then slowly tightened my grip on the Azura sword. Senior, I may not be able to preserve your record, but the front line you couldn't finish defending. I'll defend it for you in the future. I continued scrolling down. There wasn't a single solo clear record on the entire leaderboard. Perhaps someone had succeeded in soloing it before. But if the clear time was too long, they wouldn't qualify for the rankings at all. As for a level 1 solo clear, it had never happened. I closed the leaderboard and walked toward the dungeon entrance. A system warning immediately popped up. Warning: your level is far below the recommended level for this dungeon. Current party members, January 5th. After entering the dungeon, you may encounter fatal danger. Confirm entry into Wolf King Valley. I raised my hand directly. Confirm. At the same time, the players outside finally noticed something was wrong. Wait, what level is that Jean-Ma guy? Can't see. His weapon is blocking it. Level 1. What did you say? I said he's only level 1. The surroundings instantly fell silent. Dozens of pairs of eyes looked toward the top of my head at the same time. Jean-Ma, LV1. The next second, the crowd exploded completely. Level 1. How did this guy get here? He crossed the rotten swamp and Blackstone Mountain all the way here. What is he doing at the dungeon entrance? Don't tell me he's here to run the dungeon. A warrior burst out laughing on the spot. Come on. A level 1 clearing Wolf King Valley? He can't even beat the mobs at the entrance. Buzz. White light descended. My body rapidly disappeared into the dungeon entrance. The warrior's voice stopped abruptly. Clang. The greatsword in his hand fell to the ground. He stared at the empty entrance, the smile on his face completely frozen. He went in. The person beside him swallowed with difficulty. He really went in. Alone. Alone. Level 1. Level 1. Dead silence lasted for 2 seconds. Then the entire dungeon entrance erupted. Quick, check the dungeon status. He really isn't a solo party. Insane. This guy is absolutely insane. Start the timer. I bet he dies and gets kicked out within 10 seconds. At that moment, I was already standing inside Wolf King Valley. Hundreds of level 50 werewolves raised their heads at the same time. Their scarlet eyes all locked onto me. The next second, the wolf pack charged. The ground shook violently. I drew the Azura sword and smiled at the incoming wolves. 10 seconds. No need. If I'm clearing the field, 1 second is enough. The white light dispersed, and I was already standing inside Wolf King Valley. The mountain path was long and narrow, and the end was swallowed by gray mist. Wolf howls came from every direction. I drew the Azura sword and walked straight ahead. No more nonsense. Time to farm. The strategy for Wolf King Valley had already been thoroughly studied on the forums. There were 60 silver wolves, 6 silver wolf elites, and the final boss, the Silver Wolf King, inside the dungeon. A normal team needed to advance carefully and steadily. The knight pulled aggro, the damage dealers focused fire, and the priest watched everyone's HP. If even one part went wrong, the entire party could wipe. But I was different. I was going to pull everything. Ahead, gray mist churned. Several silver-gray giant wolves slowly appeared. The eyes of the gods immediately provided information. Silver Wolf. Level 50. HP 5,200. Attack 503. Defense 463. Magic defense 582. Speed 92. Skills: Claw Bite, Bloodthirst. Tip: your speed is higher than its. As long as you don't run into its claws yourself, kill it however you want. Another piece of information followed right after. Silver Wolf Elite. Level 51. HP 5,700. Attack 551. Defense 477. Magic defense 602. Speed 105. Skills: Charge, Claw Bite, Bloodthirst. Tip: watch out for charge. That's it. That's all it's got. After reading the tips, my steps didn't pause in the slightest. Pull the mobs. Bang. I stepped across the stream and charged straight into the first group of wolves. A whoa. 7 or 8 silver wolves raised their heads at the same time. Their aggro locked onto me instantly. I deliberately slowed down by half a beat, waited until they pounced behind me, then suddenly accelerated. Come on. All of you, keep up. The wolf pack roared and chased after me. More than a dozen silver wolves appeared ahead. I passed right through the middle of them, swinging the Azura sword to the side. Bang. One silver wolf took a smack to the head. The damage wasn't high, but the humiliation was maxed out. It became furious on the spot, turned around, and joined the chase. The next second, the bushes to my right suddenly exploded. A silver wolf elite lowered its body, turning into a silver afterimage as it charged straight toward my waist and abdomen. Charge. Too obvious. I pivoted my footwork and brushed past its fangs. Boom. Unable to stop in time, the silver wolf elite smashed hard into a dead tree. The entire tree snapped instantly. I raised my left hand and hit its back with a basic mage attack. Smack. Come back. Don't fall behind. The silver wolf elite turned back to stare at me. Its eyes turned red. It let out an enraged roar and chased after me again. I continued forward. Positioning. Kiting. Controlling distance. Refreshing aggro on those about to disengage. More and more silver wolves followed behind me. 10, 20, 40. The valley trembled. The running wolf pack kicked up huge amounts of mud and water, their roars merging into one continuous wave. As long as I got knocked down once, dozens of silver wolves would instantly drown me. But they were always just a little short, and that tiny gap became a distance they could never cross. 4 minutes later, I swept past the last silver wolf. 60 ordinary silver wolves. 6 elite silver wolves. Not a single one missing. I had pulled them all to the giant boulder in the center of the valley. I leapt up, stepped repeatedly off protruding rocks, and landed steadily on top of the boulder. Boom. The silver wolf elite at the front crashed headfirst into the stone wall. The wolves behind it couldn't stop at all. Boom, boom, boom. More than 60 silver wolves squeezed together, scrambling to ram into the wall. One silver wolf tried to circle around, only to be shoved back by its own kind behind it. Standing atop the boulder, I glanced downward. Packed densely together, all within attack range. Pulled the entire map, and didn't lose a single drop of HP. I tightened my grip on the Azura sword and couldn't help laughing. Who here wasn't once a professional gamer? In online games, mob pulling was a skill. Pulling the entire map was art within that skill. You couldn't let the monsters disengage, but you also couldn't let them catch up. You had to calculate routes, speed, terrain, and aggro range. Any single mistake could ruin everything. But this kind of operation was something I was far too familiar with. Microcontrol, movement, and a heart that grew calmer the more dangerous things became. That was my real confidence. As for now, the performance was over. Time to clear the field. I raised the Azura sword. The blood-red patterns lit up at the same time. Azura slash. Boom. A 50-meter-long blood-red sword light erupted. A sword-wielding phantom rose behind me, stepped into the air, and leapt into the wolf pack. The next second, the giant sword swept sideways. Critical hit. Minus 58,260. Critical hit. Minus 58,260. Critical hit. Minus 58,260. Dense damage numbers instantly filled my vision. There was no normal damage. All of them were critical hits. The blood-red sword light slashed back and forth. Wherever it passed, the silver wolves didn't even have time to scream before their bodies exploded one after another. 10 seconds later, the sword light dissipated. The valley fell silent again. Below the boulder, not a single living silver wolf remained. 66 monsters. Annihilated. I jumped down from the boulder and patted my clothes. Forget injuries. There wasn't even a drop of blood on the hem of my clothes. This is a level 50 dungeon. I looked around at the corpses covering the ground. Anyone with hands could do this. System notifications began flooding the screen like crazy. Killed silver wolf. EXP plus 1,100. Killed silver wolf. EXP plus 1,100. Killed silver wolf elite. EXP plus 1,200. Obtained fresh silver wolf meat. Obtained silver wolf claw. Obtained damaged wolf pelt. After one round, my EXP shot up by more than 70,000. A huge pile of wolf meat also appeared in my void inventory. I opened my EXP bar. Current EXP, 70,000 plus /99999999999. Looking at the progress bar that had barely moved, I fell silent for 2 seconds. Then I took out a magnifying glass, placed it against the bar, and looked carefully. The progress bar did seem to have moved forward a little. A very tiny little bit. Not bad. One tiny step closer to becoming a god. I put away the magnifying glass. No rush. If one run wasn't enough, I'd run it 10 times. If 10 runs weren't enough, I'd run it 10,000 times. No matter how long the EXP bar was, it couldn't withstand me grinding like this. For now, the most important thing was to slaughter the Silver Wolf King first. Carrying the Azura sword, I charged at full speed toward the depths of the valley path. 1 minute later, the gray mist dispersed. Sunlight fell into the valley. A colossal creature lay ahead. Its silver fur swayed in the wind. Its thick limbs were like stone pillars. Just lying there, it blocked more than half of the valley path. I stopped and slowly raised my head. First, I looked at its legs, then its waist. Finally, I saw its head. No, seriously. What did you eat to grow this big? I was 1.8 meters tall. Among people, I definitely wasn't considered short. But standing before the Silver Wolf King, I didn't even reach its knee. If I were to use normal attacks, I'd probably have to jump just to hit its leg. The eyes of the gods quickly completed the scout. Silver Wolf King. Level 55. HP 59,500. Attack 1460. Defense 1155. Magic defense 1268. Speed 120. Skills: Savage Wolf Pounce, Cruel Gnawing, Fierce Roar. These stats were indeed strong. If an ordinary level 50 player took one hit from it, most of their HP bar would vanish. If they took a skill head-on, even top experts might be instantly killed. No wonder the Silver Wolf King was known as the Beginner Harvester. The number of human players who had died in its jaws had long exceeded 10 billion. Roar! The Silver Wolf King suddenly stood up. A violent aura swept across the entire valley. Its roar shook the rock walls until they cracked, and shattered stones tumbled down. It lowered its head, its scarlet eyes locking onto me. Lowly human, how dare you trespass into Wolf King Valley? I will tear apart your body and chew up your bones. Leaning on the Azura sword, I waited quietly. No choice. Forced boss cutscene. Like an in-game cinematic that couldn't be skipped. The Silver Wolf King was still roaring. Humans are foolish, weak, disgusting. You all deserve to die. Not a single one of you should be alive. I picked my ear. Hurry it up, please. I'm in a rush. The Silver Wolf King's roar stopped abruptly. What did you say? I said, can you get through your lines faster? I pointed at the sky. If this drags on any longer, school will be over. The Silver Wolf King froze. It seemed this was the first time it had ever met someone urging a boss to hurry through its scripted dialogue. Then it noticed the level above my head. Jeanma, LV1. The Silver Wolf King narrowed its eyes. Human insect. Why are you only level 1? I immediately became unhappy. What? You wolves discriminate based on level 2? Ha! The Silver Wolf King threw its head back and laughed wildly. A mere level 1 dares to come before this king alone. That is not courage. You are courting death. It suddenly lowered its body. Die. Its HP bar finally lit up. Silver Wolf King, 59500/59500. Battle start. This was the moment I had been waiting for. Judgment. I raised my left hand. Boom. A golden crack instantly split open in the sky above the valley. A beam of golden light thicker than the Silver Wolf King's waist descended from the heavens and slammed into its body. Performing luck check. Target's luck is lower than yours. Judgment successful. Minus 7,512. Roar. The Silver Wolf King's body abruptly sank. Its front leg went weak, and its massive body nearly knelt to the ground. A sickly dark green glow rapidly covered its entire body. Above its head, 2 large characters appeared. Weakened. The Silver Wolf King was stunned. What is going on? My power. Why have I suddenly become so weak? It struggled to raise its head, fear appearing in its eyes for the first time. Human, aren't you a warrior? What did you do to this king? I looked at the great sword in my hand. As a warrior, knowing a few mage skills. That's reasonable, right? Reasonable, my. The Silver Wolf King instantly flew into a rage. It opened its huge mouth, seemingly ready to unleash a string of curses to defend its last shred of dignity as a dungeon boss. But I didn't give it the chance. Judgment status only lasted 5 seconds. That was enough. I raised my hand and pointed at it. Sanction. Rumble. The sky shook. A 20-meter-long, nearly 5-meter-wide sword of light tore through the clouds and locked onto the Silver Wolf King's head. The Silver Wolf King looked up. Its scarlet pupils were completely illuminated by golden light. No. The light sword descended. Boom. The blade pierced straight through the Silver Wolf King's head. The earth split apart. The entire valley shook violently. Critical hit. Minus 102,000. The Silver Wolf King's HP bar emptied instantly. Its massive body couldn't even last half a second before turning into ashes within the golden light. Killed Silver Wolf King. EXP plus 45,000. Gold plus 5,000. Obtained Silver Wolf Boots. I stood before the cracked ground, watching the light sword slowly dissipate. One hit. Instant kill. The strongest boss in the beginner map was gone just like that. Wasn't it called the Beginner Harvester? That's it. Before I could check the rewards, the entire Divine Punishment land suddenly fell silent. The next second, an ethereal yet majestic voice echoed across every map. Divine Punishment announcement. Congratulations to player Jeanma for becoming the first to solo clear the Wolf King Valley dungeon. Clear time, 5 minutes 52 seconds. Clear rating, SSS. Historical ranking, 3rd. The announcement rang 3 times in a row. Standing inside the dungeon, I raised my brow slightly. 3rd. Mo wins team, 5 minutes and 35 seconds. Yijibai's team, 5 minutes and 50 seconds. I was only 2 seconds slower than Yijibai. As for Human Emperor Duga's original 3rd place, I had pushed him down to 4th. 3rd place, just from practicing. I put away the Azura sword. Not bad. At the time, I had no idea what kind of storm those 3 announcements had stirred up in the outside world. Only later did I hear. The moment the announcement rang out, the entire Divine Punishment land stopped. People farming monsters forgot to dodge skills. People running dungeons froze as a group. Some were even sent back to the respawn point by a boss's slap because they looked up at the announcement. Everyone's first reaction was disbelief. Solo clear. 5 minutes 52 seconds. SSS rating. Historical 3rd. Any one of those 4 things alone would have been enough to shake all of humanity. Yet they had all been accomplished by one person at the same time. The world channel exploded on the spot. At first, the screen was almost entirely filled with status descriptions of players cursing. No one could form a complete sentence, because no long speech could express it as directly as 2 words. They used the simplest and most intense method to express the same idea. Where the hell did this guy come from? It took a full half hour before a complete sentence finally appeared in the world channel. A level 50 knight posted, "Brothers, I think I'm in trouble. 2 hours ago, Jeanma asked me for directions. He called me little bro back then. I saw he was only level 1, so my tone was a little harsh. I even said he'd die halfway there. May I ask what happens if you offend a suspected SSS-Rank talent big shot? Should I go into hiding? Waiting online. Seriously urgent." The moment this message appeared, the world channel, which had only just calmed down a little, exploded again. Level 1. You're saying Jeanma is only level 1? A level 1 solo cleared a level 50 dungeon. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. You saw it with your own eyes? The knight immediately replied, "Absolutely true. I even rejected his party invitation." The world channel fell silent again. Then everyone's emotions went completely out of control. Level 1. Solo. 5 minutes 52 seconds. Historical 3rd. This was no longer a genius. This was a monster. Someone raised a question. Could Divine Punishment Land have a bug? Someone immediately refuted it. Divine Punishment has descended for 200 years. Have you ever seen it bug out? Is it that hard to admit someone else is strong? Just because ordinary people can't do it doesn't mean an SSS-Rank talent can't. Human Emperor Dugu only fell 2 years ago. Has a new Human Emperor appeared? Who exactly is Jeanma? Investigate. Hurry and find out his real identity. Someone even directly declared, once Jeanma grows up, humanity will give birth to a 5th Human Emperor. Others shouted even more radically, no. With this kind of achievement at level 1, his future will definitely not stop at Human Emperor. That day, Jeanma emerged out of nowhere. The Divine Punishment land boiled over, and all of Blue Star boiled over with it. Every faction was asking the same question. Who was Jeanma? What talent had he awakened? And how had he used a level 1 body to solo clear the strongest level 50 beginner dungeon? Soon, the news reached the imperial capital of China, Demon Execution Academy headquarters. On the massive electronic screen, my clear data was being replayed repeatedly. Player, Jeanma. Level 1. Party members, 1. Clear time, 5 minutes 52 seconds. Clear rating, SSS. A handsome young man stood before the screen, his expression constantly changing. His name was Shinshio. He was the creator of the fifth-place historical record in Wolf King Valley. More importantly, his teacher was Yi Bai, humanity's first human emperor, the founder of the Demon Execution Academy. According to the internal records of the Demon Execution Academy, Yi Bai had also attempted to solo clear Wolf King Valley during his beginner period. At that time, Yi Bai had already been level 50, fully equipped, fully prepared. He had made every preparation possible, but his best result was only 45 minutes. He hadn't even entered the historical rankings, and I had used 5 minutes 52 seconds. Shinshio stared at the data for a long time without speaking. A moment later, the electronic screen suddenly flickered. At the same time, the sky above the imperial capital changed. The clear sky was instantly covered by dark clouds. A terrifying pressure descended from the heavens, enveloping the entire Demon Execution Academy. Shinshio's body sank, and even breathing became difficult. On the screen appeared the calm, emotionless face of a middle-aged man. It was none other than the leader of the 4 human emperors, Mo1. Shinshio immediately lowered his head. Uncle Mo, is the news about Jeanma solo clearing the beginner dungeon true? Mo1's eyes were closed. Don't ask. Only 2 words. Shinshio immediately shut his mouth. A moment later, Mo1 opened his eyes again. Within his pupils, it was as if stars were rising and sinking. But in the end, he shook his head. Jeanma's identity. I cannot see through it. Shinshio abruptly raised his head. Even you can't see through it? Mo1 did not answer. But silence had already explained everything. Huge waves surged through Shinshio's heart. Mo1 was one of humanity's strongest. His talent was related to insight and divination. Among humanity, very few secrets could escape his eyes. But now he actually couldn't see through a level 1 rookie. Who exactly was Jeanmo? Or rather, what kind of existence stood behind him? Mo1 spoke calmly. 100 years. A new SSS-Rank talent has finally appeared. For now, the Demon Execution Academy must not contact him, nor investigate him. Shinshio was startled. Why? Contacting him too early will only alert the demons. Mo1 looked toward the Divine Punishment Land. Let nature take its course. I'll be watching over him in the Divine Punishment Land. He won't come to harm. Shinshio lowered his head. Understood. The screen slowly went dark. The pressure shrouding the imperial capital also disappeared. The dark clouds dispersed. The evening glow once again spilled down. A blood-red imperial mark stretched across the sky, pointing toward the Divine Punishment Land. Shinshio stood before the window, his eyes full of awe. Uncle Mo has grown stronger again. But soon, another thought appeared in his mind. Back then, Mo1 also hadn't been able to solo clear his way onto the rankings. Then, once Jeanma grew up, between the two of them, who would be stronger? As for the storm sweeping the entire world, it had absolutely nothing to do with me at the time, because school was over. As soon as the dungeon settlement finished, I was forcefully kicked offline. I didn't see even a single glance of the grand spectacle on the World Channel. Carrying my school bag, I walked out of school and turned left to take the tram. Half an hour later, I returned to my uncle's house. My parents had disappeared 10 years ago. Since then, I had been living here. I opened the door. I'm back. No one replied. I yawned and was just about to change my shoes when a laughing voice suddenly came from the right. You look pretty sleepy. My body stiffened, and I abruptly turned my head. A long-haired girl was standing there with her arms crossed, leaning against the wall and looking at me. 18 or 19 years old. White shirt, denim shorts. Delicate features. There was also a faint beauty mark beneath the corner of her left eye. Xiao Panchua, my uncle's daughter. Also the other people's kid who had crushed me since childhood. Sis Shue. I was a little surprised. Why are you back? She raised the corner of her mouth. Summer vacation. If I don't come home, should I sleep on the street? Only then did I remember that today happened to be the day Imperial Capital University started summer break. Xiao Panchua had awakened an S-rank combat talent last year. She had also taken first place in the province on the college entrance exam and was admitted to Imperial Capital University. She was now the pride of this family. She was also one of the most famous young geniuses in Jiangnan City. Come with me. She suddenly grabbed my wrist. Wait. Where are we going? We'll talk once we're inside. Xiao Panchua didn't give me a chance to refuse and directly dragged me into her room. Bang. The door closed. I subconsciously took half a step back. Sis Shue, what are you trying to do? She stared at me. Stop pretending. I'm asking you something. Today was awakening day. What talent did you awaken? That's it. I immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Xiao Panxue narrowed her eyes. What else? Were you expecting something just now? No. I answered with absolute certainty. As for the 9 SSS-Rank talents, I had no intention of telling anyone. It wasn't that I didn't trust Xiao Panxue. It was that the fewer people knew, the safer I would be. In Divine Punishment Land, I could be high profile, because even if I died, I could revive. But reality was different. In reality, I only had one life. If the demons found out my identity, they would definitely kill me at all costs. Fortunately, I had already given myself insurance. Supreme Authority, SSS-Rank. You possess the highest authority beneath the Creator God and may set encrypted information on your own. To put it simply, I had authority close to that of a game administrator. Before entering Divine Punishment Land, I had already completely encrypted the identity connection between Su Yin and Zhanma. Without my permission, no one could find it. Even if a human emperor personally took action, all they would obtain was a blank. I had to keep this trump card hidden at all costs. I deliberately sighed. Don't mention it. I awakened an S-rank talent. Xiao Panxue's eyes instantly lit up. S-rank. But my next sentence immediately froze her smile. An S-rank useless talent. Tenfold absorption. The room was quiet for 2 seconds. Xiao Panxue suddenly grabbed my shoulders. What did you say? An S-rank useless talent. You're not lying to me? I spread my hands. What benefit would I get from lying to you? Would I get coconut milk? Yes. Xiao Panxue turned around, pulled open a drawer, and actually took out a bottle of coconut milk before tossing it to me. I caught it, my expression complicated. You actually had some? Less nonsense. She stared into my eyes. Su Yin, this concerns your future. Are you sure you're not joking? I'm really not lying to you. I stuck the straw in and took a sip. The whole school watched me awaken. The principal nearly got so angry he retired early. Xiao Panxue still didn't quite believe me. Before heading home, she had just happened to see the news that Zhanma had solo cleared Wolf King Valley. Level 1. Solo. Third in history. She knew today was the day of my awakening. And for some reason, the first name that had popped into her mind was mine. That was why she had blocked me at the door and questioned me. But now it seemed. She frowned slightly. It really wasn't you? What wasn't me? I deliberately played dumb. Xiao Panxue looked at me for a few seconds, then finally shook her head. Nothing. Go on out. I turned and left. Wait. She suddenly called out to me. What is it? Even if it's a useless talent, that doesn't mean you have no future at all. Her expression was serious. I'll help you level up from now on. The threshold for Imperial Capital University is very high, but there's still 1 year left. As long as you don't give up, I'll help you find a way. Warmth rose in my heart, but I laughed and said, Sis Shue, I'll remember what you just said. In the future, who carries who might still be up for debate? Xiao Panxue waved her hand irritably. Hurry up and get out. At dinner, I used my actions to completely dispel her suspicion. Auntie, another bowl. The 7th bowl. Is there any more rice? The 8th bowl. No one's eating this dish anymore, right? The 9th bowl. One last bowl. This is really the last one. The 10th bowl. The dining table was a complete mess. Uncle gripped his chopsticks, his face full of shock. Auntie looked at the empty rice cooker, hesitating as if she wanted to say something. Xiao Panxue sat across from me, supporting her forehead with one hand. She believed it. She completely believed it. Uncle couldn't help asking, Xiaoyan, did something happen to you today? Nothing happened. I put down my bowl. I'm just growing. Auntie looked at my height. You're already 1.8 meters tall. You're still growing. I'm aiming for 2 meters. I rubbed my stomach. After eating so much, my stomach wasn't bloated at all. After all the food entered my body, it was rapidly digested and absorbed. A warm current surged through my limbs and bones. My exhaustion was swept away. Even my body felt stronger. My eyes lit up slightly. Tenfold absorption didn't seem to be truly useless. If I kept eating large amounts of food, would my real body continue to strengthen? That was a question worth slowly verifying in the future. After dinner, I took a shower. While Xiao Panxue also went to shower, I immediately slipped back to my room and locked the door. Back then, as soon as I cleared the dungeon, I had been forced to exit because school was over. I hadn't even had time to check the rewards. The fact that I had endured until now before opening them made me admire my own willpower. It was like a package had already been delivered into my hands. Yet I forced myself not to open it. Absolutely cruel. I sat cross-legged on the bed and connected to my void inventory. Let me see. What exactly does third in history reward? Light flashed. 2 sets of rewards appeared before my eyes at the same time. The first was the drop from killing the Silver Wolf King. Experience points, 45,000. Gold coins, 5,000. Equipment, Silver Wolf boots. Including the monster experience from earlier, I had gained around 120,000 experience from one dungeon run. I quickly did the math. To max out 99.9 billion experience, I would need roughly 830,000 runs. 830,000 runs. The smile on my face gradually vanished. Forget it. Let's not talk about becoming a god for now. Let's talk about money. 5,000 gold coins could be exchanged for 500,000 Hua currency. Another huge sum. Solo clearing really is the correct way to open a dungeon. I nodded in satisfaction. Unfortunately, dungeon gold rewards mainly came from first clears and rankings. If I repeated the dungeon later, the rewards would be greatly reduced. Otherwise, at my speed, even the richest man in Hua Nation would have to give up his position. I looked at the Silver Wolf boots. Silver Wolf boots, S-Rank. Equipment level, 50. Speed plus 80. Agility plus 35. Additional effect, gain the windwalking state while moving. The stats were excellent. Unfortunately, I would forever remain level 1. I couldn't wear them. Sell them. An excellent S-Rank piece of equipment should be worth plenty of gold coins. Maybe even another apartment. Next came the real highlight. The ranking reward for third in history. The first item was gold. Gold coins times 100, 000. I stared at the zeros behind it. I counted once. Then counted again. 100,000. 1 gold coin equaled 100 Hua currency. 100,000 gold coins meant 10 million. A house in the center of the imperial capital was hard to say, but in Jiangnan City, it was more than enough to buy several luxury villas. I took a deep breath. The books say talent changes fate. I believe it now. One day ago, I was still an ordinary high school student. One day later, I had already become a multimillionaire. This wasn't changing fate. This was pinning fate to the ground and rewriting it by force. I suppressed my excitement and looked at the second reward. A golden medal quietly floated in the air. Golden Glory Medal. After equipping, all attributes plus 100. My breathing instantly stopped for a moment. Money was important, but attributes were even more important. Because the Divine Wrath Mage had locked my level. Normal players gained attribute growth with every level up. But I didn't. The longer time passed, the greater the gap between my base attributes and those of high-level players would become. And this medal perfectly solved that problem. All attributes plus 100. Constitution, Spirit, Strength, Intelligence, Agility, all increased. If this thing were put up for auction, its value couldn't be measured in gold coins at all. Forget 1 million gold coins. Even if someone offered 100 million Hua currency, top-tier experts would choose the medal without hesitation. Attributes were the foundation. Only with high enough attributes could one break through bottlenecks and enter higher-level maps. Once one possessed greater strength, money would naturally flow in endlessly. Equip. I took out the golden medal and pinned it to my chest. Buzz. A strand of golden light flashed. The next second, a warm current rose from my abdomen and rapidly spread throughout my body. My bones, muscles, organs, and limbs all felt as if they were soaking in a hot spring. Tingly and numb. So comfortable that I almost cried out. My attributes rapidly changed. Constitution, 196. Spirit, 110. Strength, 110. Intelligence, 110. Agility, 140. I clenched my fist. My strength, reaction speed, and perception had all clearly improved. Now that's more like it. The final reward slowly appeared. It was a staff entirely dark red in color. The shaft seemed to have been forged from congealed blood, and at its top floated a broken crimson sun. With just one glance, I felt an intense pulse of life from it. Scarlet Dawn SSS-Rank. Equipment type, Staff. Equipment level, 1. Spirit plus 60. Intelligence plus 55. Spell Lifesteal plus 100%. Permanent affix, Every time this weapon hits an enemy, permanently increase maximum HP by 10. I abruptly sat up straight. Permanently increase HP? In Divine Punishment, equipment had not only basic levels, but also different special effects. In terms of value, from highest to lowest, they were usually exclusive skills, permanent affixes, set effects, and additional attributes. What Scarlet Dawn possessed was precisely a permanent affix, second only to exclusive skills, and its effect was a perfect match for me. Every time it hit an enemy, it permanently increased maximum HP by 10. No upper limit. That meant that as long as I kept farming monsters, my health bar could grow infinitely. 10,000 hits. 100,000 additional HP. 1 million hits. 10 million additional HP. And all my core skills had already been converted by elemental conversion into HP scaling effects. The higher my HP, the higher my damage. If I stacked my HP to hundreds of millions, or even billions, when I dropped a judgment, what difference would there be between that and a nuclear explosion? Whoever came would die. Even a god would have to lose a layer of skin first. Luck stat maxed. I gripped Scarlet Dawn and couldn't help laughing. It really gives me whatever I'm missing. But it wasn't over yet. I opened Elemental Conversion. Spirit plus 60. Convert to Constitution. Conversion successful. Intelligence plus 55. Convert that to Constitution too. Conversion successful. Scarlet Dawn's attributes instantly changed. Scarlet Dawn SSS-Rank. Constitution plus 60. Constitution plus 55. Spell Lifesteal plus 100%. Permanent affix. Every time this weapon hits an enemy, permanently increase maximum HP by 10. I abruptly sat up straight. Permanently increase HP? In Divine Punishment, equipment had not only basic levels, but also different special effects. In terms of value, from highest to lowest, they were usually exclusive skills, permanent affixes, set effects, and additional attributes. What Scarlet Dawn possessed was precisely a permanent affix, second only to exclusive skills, and its effect was a perfect match for me. Every time it hit an enemy, it permanently increased maximum HP by 10. No upper limit. That meant that as long as I kept farming monsters, my health bar could grow infinitely. 10,000 hits. 100,000 additional HP. 1 million hits. 10 million additional HP. And all my core skills had already been converted by elemental conversion into HP scaling effects. The higher my HP, the higher my damage. If I stacked my HP to hundreds of millions, or even billions, when I dropped a judgment, what difference would there be between that and a nuclear explosion? Whoever came would die. Even a god would have to lose a layer of skin first. Luck stat maxed. I gripped Scarlet Dawn and couldn't help laughing. It really gives me whatever I'm missing. But it wasn't over yet. I opened Elemental Conversion. Spirit plus 60. Convert to Constitution. Conversion successful. Intelligence plus 55. Convert that to Constitution too. Conversion successful. Scarlet Dawn's attributes instantly changed. Scarlet Dawn SSS-Rank. Constitution plus 60. Constitution plus 55. Spell Lifesteal plus 100%. Permanent affix. Every time this weapon hits an enemy, permanently increase maximum HP by 10. I equipped the staff. My Constitution surged again. Constitution, 311. HP, 9,665. Nearly 10,000 HP. I quickly calculated Judgment's damage. After Judgment, both punishment and the additional punishment would trigger at the same time. Then factoring in the increased damage against demons and critical hits, the damage had already broken past 150,000. And this was only the beginning. Tomorrow, after some casual farming, my HP would continue to rise. This will do for now. I fell backward onto the bed. Today's first run through Wolf King Valley had only been practice. The route hadn't been perfect. Pulling monsters had taken a full 4 minutes. After killing the Silver Wolf King, my time was 5 minutes and 52 seconds. I was only 2 seconds behind second place, Yijibai, and only 17 seconds behind first place, MO1. The reward for third place was already this ridiculous. What would first place reward? New SSS rank equipment? A divine skill? Or an even more outrageous permanent item? The more I thought about it, the more eager I became. First place. I must take it. But if I wanted to shorten my time, the key wasn't damage. My current damage was enough to instantly kill every monster in the dungeon. The real time waster was movement and gathering monsters. So before entering the dungeon tomorrow, I had to visit the auction house first. Movement skills, speed boosting equipment. Ideally, a full movement set that also increased constitution. As long as I reduced travel time, 17 seconds was nothing. I closed my eyes, the corners of my mouth slowly rising. MO1, Human Emperor. Your first place is mine. The next day, I arrived at school half an hour early. When I pushed open the classroom door, I froze for a moment. Almost everyone had already arrived. I leveled up to 3. What's level 3? I farmed until level 4 last night. Did you guys see the trending searches? Jeanma has already rushed to number 1 globally. Level 1 solo clearing a level 50 dungeon. 3rd in history. Is he even human? The classroom was as noisy as a military camp before battle. Yesterday had been everyone's first time entering the land of divine punishment. The excitement still hadn't worn off. Every single one of them was thrilled beyond measure. They were either showing off their levels or discussing Jeanma. On the way here, I had already checked my phone. Headlines, trending searches, D-station, moments. My name was everywhere. 100-year wait. New SSS-Rank talent suspected to have appeared. Jeanma solo clears Wolf King Valley, 3rd in history. 2 years after Dugu's fall, is humanity's 5th human emperor about to be born? Even more ridiculous was that people had already begun analyzing my class, talent, and real identity. Some said I was the secretly trained heir of some major family in the imperial capital. Others said I was the illegitimate son left behind by human Emperor Dugu. The most exaggerated person had even fabricated where I had wet my pants when I was 3 years old. After reading it, I only had one comment. Nice imagination. Unfortunately, all wrong. I went to the last row and tossed my school bag onto the desk. Wake up. I knocked on the desktop. Tang Xia was lying on her desk, catching up on sleep. Hearing the noise, she lifted her head groggily. Her high ponytail was so messy it looked like she had just finished a skirmish. Su Yan. Morning. She yawned. What class did you choose yesterday? You first. Tang Xia immediately perked up. Archer. What level? 5. After saying that, she flopped back down onto the desk with a gloomy expression. I, a dignified B-rank fire-type talent, only reached level 5 after more than 2 hours. I pulled out my chair and sat down. You reached level 5 in a little over 2 hours, and you're still not satisfied? Of course I'm not satisfied. Tang Xia crossed her arms and lifted her chin. If I had a good team, I'd be at least level 7. Bragging. You don't believe me? I do. I took out my textbook. I'd believe you even if you said you solo cleared Wolf King Valley last night. Enough with the sarcasm. Tang Xia tapped my hand with her pen. What about you? Warrior. What level? 1. Uft. Tang Xia immediately collapsed onto the desk, her shoulders shaking wildly. Su Yan, you were in there for more than 2 hours yesterday, and you're still level 1? My face was expressionless. What's wrong with level 1? How are you so righteous about being level 1? I can still crush you. Come on, crush me then. Don't run after school. Whoever runs is a grandson. While we were bickering, a commotion suddenly came from the classroom door. Jiang Hao is here. That A-rank fire type from class 5? That's him. He was even on Jiangnan News last night. I looked up. A short boy walked into the classroom surrounded by 7 or 8 people. His hands were in his pockets. His chin was slightly raised. Along the way, he heard everyone's discussions. A smile remained on his lips the whole time. Clearly, he enjoyed the feeling of being the center of attention. An A-rank fire type. I heard that even number 1 high only has an A-rank earth type as their highest this year. Jiang Hao might very well be this year's Jiangnan City College entrance exam top scorer. Don't forget, his dad is also the richest man in Jiangnan City. Jiang Hao walked straight toward the last row. Finally, he stopped beside me. Move. I was reading the auction house rules and didn't even look up. Can't. I have business. If you have business, say it here. Jiang Hao frowned. He stared at me for 2 seconds, then ultimately suppressed his anger. After that, he directly looked past me at Tang Xia. His tone immediately became gentle. Tang Xia, do you have time to talk? Tang Xia had just lain back down, and her eyes weren't even fully open. No. The smile on Jiang Hao's face stiffened. One wouldn't move. One had no time. He had come over aggressively with a group of people, only to run into two walls right at the start. People around us were already holding back laughter. Jiang Hao's expression turned ugly, so he could only get straight to the point. I've formed a fire-type burst damage team. Right now, we have 2 B-rank talents and 3 C-rank supports. I want to invite you to join. Tang Xia lazily asked. Are you done? Not yet. Jiang Hao took a step forward. As long as you're willing to join, I can make you vice captain. Not interested. Don't be so quick to reject me. Jiang Hao gritted his teeth, as if making some major decision. I can also give you a link crystal. The classroom instantly fell silent. Then, cries of shock exploded. A link crystal? He can give that away? One of those is worth at least 100 million Hua currency right now, isn't it? You can't necessarily buy one even if you have money. I also raised my head. Jiang Hao's offer was indeed generous. A link crystal was the only tool used to enter the land of divine punishment. The school's link crystals could only be used during class hours. If someone privately owned one, they could continue entering the land of divine punishment after returning home from school. Others could only train for a few hours a day, but you could train for an entire extra night. Over time, the level gap would naturally widen. Simply put, it was divine punishment's version of extra tutoring. Except one lesson was worth 100 million. Seeing everyone's reaction, Jiang Hao regained his confidence. Tang Xia, you're a B-rank fire type. I'm also fire type, and I'm A rank. If we team up, our leveling speed will increase by at least 30%. With the link crystal on top of that, you'll have a real chance of getting into a first-rate university. He extended his hand. Join me. This is the choice best suited for you. Everyone looked at Tang Xia. In their eyes, there was absolutely no reason to refuse. But Tang Xia merely lifted her eyes. I said it already. Not interested. Jiang Hao's hand froze in midair. Do you know what you just refused? I know. A link crystal worth 100 million Hua currency. I heard you. Then why are you refusing? Tang Xia frowned. I don't want to join your team. Is that reason enough? Jiang Hao's face turned ashen. We're both fire type. Only by teaming up with me can your talent display its greatest value. I'm doing this for your future. Tang Xia laughed. Since when was my future yours to decide? Low whispers spread through the classroom. Jiang Hao could no longer maintain his composure. He took a deep breath and forcibly maintained his grace. Think it over again. If you change your mind, come find me in class 5 anytime. After saying that, he turned and left. As he passed by me, he paused. His gaze was very cold. I closed my textbook. What are you looking at me for? Nothing. Jiang Hao snorted coldly and left the classroom with his group. After he walked away, I turned to Tang Xia. Not bad. 100 million, and you rejected it just like that. Tang Xia flopped back onto the desk. It's just a lousy crystal. Who cares? Didn't you say yesterday that you lacked a good team? Now an A-rank captain personally came to your door? Why didn't you go? I don't get along with him. How so? I don't like looking at him. A simple reason. Very Tang Xia. I smiled and didn't continue asking. Her family wasn't well off. A link crystal was definitely no small matter to her. But she still rejected it. This girl usually seemed unreliable, but at critical moments, she had her own principles. A moment later, the class bell rang. The link crystal on the upper left corner of the desks emitted a faint glow. The classroom immediately quieted down. Everyone impatiently stretched out their hands. Just then, homeroom teacher Wang quickly walked onto the podium. Don't log in yet. I have something to announce. Everyone could only stop. Teacher Wang looked around the classroom. You've already completed your talent awakenings. For the next 2 months, there isn't much more that teachers can help you with. The knowledge in your textbooks must all be applied in the land of divine punishment. Class combinations, monster weaknesses, dungeon mechanics, real combat decisions. These things will determine whether you can get into university. Quite a few students became serious. Teacher Wang paused, then suddenly smiled. Next, some good news. Zhama, you all know him, right? The classroom instantly erupted. Of course we know. Level 1 solo clearing Wolf King Valley. Third in history. Teacher, did he awaken an SSS-Rank talent? Teacher Wang raised her hand to signal for silence. There has been no official confirmation yet, but all humanity believes that Zhanma is very likely the first SSS-Rank talent awakener in 100 years. His appearance proves that the fortune of the human race has not yet ended. He may even become the 5th human emperor. The students listened with quickened breathing. I sat in the last row with a somewhat strange expression. Yesterday, the whole school had treated me as a joke. Today, the teacher was praising me to my face. This feeling was actually rather fresh. Teacher Wang continued. To celebrate Zhanma's sudden rise, the school leadership held a meeting overnight and decided to issue benefits to the senior year. In a few days, the school will invite several Jiangnan City geniuses currently studying at elite universities in the imperial capital back to guide you. At the same time, the school will invest resources to organize a divine punishment practical combat drill. The whole class instantly cheered. Seniors from elite imperial capital universities? Will there be someone from Imperial Capital University? Will there be practical rewards? Teacher, can they carry us through dungeons? Teacher Wang smiled and lowered the noise. The specific arrangements will be announced when the time comes. You only need to remember that this is an extremely rare opportunity. Having geniuses from top universities personally teach you experience can help you avoid many detours. After speaking, she looked toward the last row. Tang Xia, come out with me. Tang Xia was still lying on the desk. I tapped her desk with my pen. Wake up. Did Zhang Hao come back again? Old Wang is calling you. Huh. Tang Xia abruptly sat up. She hurriedly fixed her hair and walked out of the classroom. At the end of the corridor, Teacher Wang stopped. Tang Xia, starting tomorrow, you don't need to come to class 3 anymore. Tang Xia's drowsiness instantly vanished. Teacher Wang, what did I do wrong? Why are you expelling me? Teacher Wang froze for a moment, then laughed. Who said I was expelling you? The school is preparing to form a rocket class. All students who awaken B rank or higher talents will be gathered there for focused training. Your B rank fire-type talent ranks 3rd in the entire school. Of course you're on the list. Tang Xia breathed a sigh of relief. Rocket class. Those 3 words meant better teachers, more resources, and stronger teammates. The chances of getting into an elite university would also increase greatly. But she soon thought of a problem. What about Su Yan? The smile on Teacher Wang's face faded somewhat. He's not on the list. Why? His talent is S rank. Tang Xia frowned. Isn't S rank higher than B rank? Teacher Wang sighed. But that's a useless type talent. Tenfold absorption is almost no help in battle or leveling. Investing resources in him would make it very difficult to see returns. Tang Xia's expression darkened. So you don't want him? It's not that we don't want him. Teacher Wang spoke earnestly. The school's resources are limited. We must prioritize students who have a better chance of getting into elite universities. This is for the greater good. Tang Xia was silent for a few seconds. Then, she shook her head. Then I'm not going either. Teacher Wang's expression changed. What did you say? I'm not going to the rocket class. Nonsense. Teacher Wang's voice suddenly grew heavier. Do you know what the rocket class means? With your talent, your chances of getting into a first-rate university normally aren't high. But if you enter the rocket class, your success rate can increase by at least 20%. This might be your only chance to change your fate. Tang Xia pressed her lips together. So what? If an S-rank talent isn't qualified to enter, what right does a B rank like me have? That's a different matter. To me, it's the same thing. Teacher Wang was so angry her chest rose and fell. You're acting on impulse now. You'll definitely regret it in the future. That's my business. Tang Xia took a step back and bowed to her. Teacher, if there's nothing else, I'll go back first. After saying that, she turned and left. Tang Xia, Teacher Wang called out. She didn't look back. Teacher Wang stood in place, shaking her head repeatedly in anger. That child, why is she so stubborn? When Tang Xia returned to the classroom, I was still reading the auction house rules. You're back. What did old Wang want with you? She sat down and casually tidied the loose strands of hair on her forehead. Nothing. She just told me to work hard and bring glory to class 3. A notification immediately appeared before my eyes. She is lying. 1 minute ago, she rejected entering the rocket class because of you. My page-turning movement stopped. Because of me? I turned to look at her. Tang Xia had already lain back down on the desk, pretending that nothing had happened. Xiao Xia. What? Are you hiding something from me? Her body clearly stiffened. Then she raised her head and forced herself to stay calm. What a joke. Your dad has lived a life of honesty and integrity. What could I possibly be hiding from you? The Eye of the Gods popped up another notification. She doesn't want you to know. If you expose her directly, she will fly into embarrassment and anger. I suppressed the emotion in my heart and didn't continue asking. This girl had first rejected Jiang Hao's link crystal. Then she rejected the rocket class because of me. Her mouth was harder than anyone's. But the things she did were more foolish than the last. After thinking for a moment, I said, "You rejected Jiang Hao today. He definitely won't give up. If he bothers you again in the future, just report my name." Tang Xia couldn't hold it in and laughed out loud. "Report your name?" "Yeah." "Suyin, what title do you have?" "Zhanma." "Heard of it." Tang Xia stared at me for 2 seconds. Then she laughed even harder. "You? What? Don't I look like him? You can slash my ass." I sighed. No one ever believed the truth. Tang Xia stopped laughing and said seriously, "Don't get involved in this. Jiang Hao's family is rich, and he has an A-rank talent. If you offend him, he'll definitely target you. And you're all ready." She suddenly stopped. "Already what?" "Nothing." Tang Xia looked away. "Anyway, hurry up and find a way to reach level 40. Otherwise, you won't even get into an ordinary university." I leaned against the back of my chair. "A mere university? I can get in with my eyes closed." "You'd better." At this time, the students in the classroom had already started entering the land of divine punishment one after another. I also placed my hand on the link crystal. But Tang Xia suddenly grabbed me. "Wait. What now? Do you really not need me to carry you?" I looked at her. "Why are you so determined to carry me?" "I'm afraid you won't get into university." "That's it. That's it." I deliberately lowered my voice. "You don't happen to like me, do you?" Tang Xia's cheeks instantly flushed red. "Stop flattering yourself. I just pity you." "Understood." I nodded solemnly. "In that case, if you admit I'm stronger than you, I'll consider carrying you instead." "In your dreams. Opportunity only comes once. Get lost." Tang Xia raised her hand to chase me away. I was prepared and immediately pressed down on the link crystal. White light flashed. My consciousness sank. When it came to soloing with pure skill, it still had to be me. By the time Tang Xia reacted, I had already vanished from my seat. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the Golden Temple. The Dawn Goddess hovered in midair. "Traveler, are you ready to pass through the Star Gate and head to the unknown land of divine punishment?" This time, I didn't immediately enter the Star Gate. I raised my head and carefully studied her. The Dawn Goddess was enveloped in holy radiance. Her white dress was condensed from divine power. Her silver white hair floated behind her. Her expression was calm, noble, majestic, as if all living beings in the world were no different in her eyes. But a bold thought emerged in my mind. Divine shackles, SSS-Rank, can impose shackles on a god or divine avatar, forcibly signing a contract. The Dawn Goddess was a god. At least, she claimed to be one. Then would this talent work on her? If it did, I stared at her for a few seconds. "Traveler." The Dawn Goddess spoke again. "Do you wish to proceed to the land of divine punishment immediately?" "Wait a moment." I cleared my throat. "Dawn Goddess, I have a few questions." "Ask, Traveler." "Are you really a god?" "Of course." She slightly lifted her chin. "I possess a level 12 divine rank and govern dawn and hope. I am a mid-tier deity. Level 12 divine rank." It sounded very powerful. To be safe, I continued asking, "Do you have relatives or friends?" For the first time, the Dawn Goddess paused. "Gods are independent of one another. We each govern our own divine domains. The human concept of familial relations does not exist among us." I nodded. "Then if something suddenly happened to you, would any other god come avenge you?" The Dawn Goddess finally sensed that something was wrong. A trace of vigilance appeared in her gaze as she looked at me. "Traveler, your questions are very strange. Gods rule over laws. Nothing will happen to me." "Understood." I breathed a sigh of relief. No relatives. No one to take revenge. That made things easy. The Dawn Goddess looked at me. "Are you finished with your questions?" "I am." I raised my right hand. "Next, let's do an experiment." Buzz. A blood-red glow lit up in my palm. The phantom of 2 crossed chains slowly appeared. The Dawn Goddess's expression changed sharply. "Traveler, what are you doing? Don't be nervous." I grinned. "Just testing my talent." Before my voice had fully fallen, I thrust my palm forward. Divine shackles. Boom. 2 blood-red chains shot explosively from my palm. The surfaces of the chains were covered in mysterious runes as they rushed straight toward the Dawn Goddess. Impudent. The Dawn Goddess raised her right hand. Holy light instantly swept through the entire temple. The next second, a vast goddess phantom appeared behind her, large enough to blot out the sky. Divine might erupted. The entire space began to shake. My body sank. I nearly collapsed to my knees under that force. But the blood-red chains did not stop. Just as the Dawn Goddess was about to counterattack, a higher-level law suddenly descended. Rumble. Thunder sounded above the temple. An invisible force suppressed everything below. The goddess phantom behind the Dawn Goddess abruptly froze. Shock appeared on her face for the first time. Creation law? Why is it helping you? I didn't know either. But that wasn't important. What mattered was that divine shackles worked. Bind. The two chains instantly split apart. One to the left, one to the right. They wrapped around the wrists of the goddess phantom. Blood-red runes lit up. The chains suddenly tightened. Stop. The Dawn Goddess struggled with all her might. Holy light erupted again and again, but each time, it was suppressed by the creation law. The blood-red chains rolled back toward the sky, continuously dragging her divine phantom upward. The temple shook more and more violently. A few seconds later, all divine light suddenly contracted. The enormous goddess phantom completely dispersed. Divine shackles successfully applied. Contract signed. The holy light around the Dawn Goddess slowly receded. She descended from midair. For the first time, her feet touched the ground in front of me. Then, she raised her eyes and looked at me. Her former aloofness had disappeared. In its place was an unbreakable contractual connection. She folded her hands and bowed slightly. Dawn awaits your orders. My master. I stared at her. It worked. It actually worked. A mid-tier deity with a level 12 divine rank had been forcibly bound by me through a contract. Divine shackles. Too ruthless. I suppressed my excitement and tested. So I can command you now? Yes. Any command? The Dawn Goddess fell silent for a moment. As long as it does not violate the creation law, I cannot refuse. Good grief. This trump card was even more terrifying than I had imagined. From now on, whenever I encountered a god, I'd shackle them first. Can't beat them? Then turn them into one of my own. Just as I was preparing to continue testing it, an alarm suddenly sounded above the temple. Emergency notice. Unknown anomaly detected in the login space. All travelers, please log out immediately. The land of divine punishment will enter emergency maintenance in 5 seconds. The smile on my face froze. No way. 5. I only put a shackle on her. 4. This needs maintenance too. 3. The goddess of dawn looked up at the sky. Master, the creation system is checking for the source of the anomaly. Can it trace it back to me? Your authority is higher than the detection module. 2. I immediately relaxed. Then it's fine. 1. Wait, I haven't. My vision instantly went black. When my sight returned, I had already been thrown into a giant city. There were people everywhere, shoulder to shoulder, feet stepping on feet. It was even more exaggerated than the subway during morning rush hour. This was Azura City. Located at the entrance region of the land of divine punishment, it was specifically designed to provide players with trading, resting, and party-forming services. This maintenance hadn't forced everyone offline. Instead, it had forcibly transferred all players into a safe zone. Curses rang out all around me. What's going on? The land of divine punishment actually went into maintenance. Wasn't the last maintenance over 100 years ago? I was just about to kill the twin-headed serpent. I only needed one last hit. They have to compensate us. Anything less than 300 gold coins is unacceptable. I'll shut up for 500 gold coins. For 1,000 gold coins, I'm willing to testify that this maintenance was completely reasonable. Standing in the crowd, I silently shrank my neck. If these people found out that the maintenance happened because I had put a shackle on the goddess of dawn, they would probably surround me on the spot. I opened my palm. A white chain mark had appeared in the center of it. Through the contract, I could clearly sense the goddess of dawn. She was inside the contract space formed by the mark. As long as I wanted, I could summon her at any time. Good. She's not lost. I clenched my hand and was just about to leave. Suddenly, someone beside me looked over. At first, he froze. Then his eyes widened sharply. Demon Slayer? That shout was like tossing a spark into a barrel of oil. The surroundings fell silent in an instant. Then, the crowd completely exploded. Where's Demon Slayer? Holy crap, it really is Demon Slayer. Blood Red Staff. Level 1. It's him. Third on the Wolf King Valley historical ranking. Move aside, I want to see the SSS-Rank big shot. Boss Demon Slayer, can I add you as a friend? Do you need teammates? I have an A-rank talent. Demon Slayer, I've been your fan for 10 years. He only became famous yesterday. Where did your 10 years come from? Feelings don't care about time. The crowd surged toward me like mad. Holding Blood Dawn, I was blocked right in the center. 3 layers inside. 3 layers outside. Even more players were rushing over from afar. This was no longer just watching the excitement. It looked like they were about to carry me away on the spot. I stayed calm and raised a hand in greeting. Hello, everyone. I'm Demon Slayer. Boom. The cheers instantly shot into the sky. Some people shouted my name like crazy. Some desperately sent friend requests. There were even people from several guilds who started offering outrageous prices on the spot. Demon Slayer, join our Divine Wind Guild. Annual salary of 100 million. Only 100 million from Divine Wind? Come to Dragon City. Name your conditions. Boss Demon Slayer, my little sister is single. Your sister is only 12. Get lost. Seeing more and more people surrounding me, I knew I couldn't stay any longer. If this dragged on, forget the auction house. I wouldn't even be able to get out of this street. Dawn, I spoke softly through the contract. Help me leave this place. The mark on my palm glowed faintly. A wisp of holy divine power instantly covered my entire body. The next second, my aura vanished from everyone's perception. I took one step forward. My figure passed straight through the packed crowd. No one noticed. They were still searching in place. Where is he? He was right here a moment ago. Did some guild snatch him away? Block the exits. How could a level 1 mage vanish into thin air? He really could. I walked all the way out of the leisure district and arrived at a quiet street. After confirming that no one had followed me, I immediately used my supreme authority. Hide ID. Hide equipment effects. Hide personal information. The glow of Blood Dawn quickly faded. The name Demon Slayer above my head also disappeared. Now, I looked like an ordinary, unremarkable level 1 mage. Aside from being handsome, there was nothing special about me. Being famous isn't entirely a good thing. I shook my head. From now on, whenever I appeared in public, I had to hide my identity in advance. Otherwise, I'd be surrounded everywhere I went. How was I supposed to grind monsters? Azura City was huge. Besides the leisure district, it also had an auction house, a party-forming area, a bounty area, and a recruit hall. I identified the direction. Then I tightened my grip on Blood Dawn and headed straight for the auction house. Today's goal was very clear. Movement skills, speed equipment, health-boosting sets. As long as I could reduce my clear time by another 18 seconds. First place in Wolf King Valley's history would be mine. By the time I arrived at the auction house, there were only a dozen or so people in the hall. Usually, the line here could stretch outside the door. But now, the place was so empty that there were almost more staff members than customers. No need to guess. All the players in Azura City had run to the leisure district to watch Demon Slayer. As for the real Demon Slayer, he had already quietly slipped here to buy equipment. Looking at the empty hall, I nodded in satisfaction. This move is called attacking in the east while making noise in the west. I strode into the auction house. The hall was decorated in an extremely luxurious style. A golden dome, crystal lamp pillars, a floor so polished it looked like a mirror. It was clearly telling every customer, spending here is expensive. If you're poor, don't come in. I glanced around, then walked straight to an idle window. Hello, I'm here to buy equipment. The female clerk behind the window immediately revealed a professional smile. Of course. Please wait a moment. Good service. As expected of the human race's largest trading center. But after she checked my level, her smile became somewhat strained. Sorry, sir. Your current level is too low. We are temporarily unable to provide trading services to you. I frowned. My level is low. You check levels even when someone is buying things. The female clerk maintained her smile. If you need to purchase level 1 equipment, you can turn right after leaving the auction house. There are many player stalls there. The prices are affordable, and the value for money is quite high. I understood. She was trying to send me away. I've already come to the auction house. Do you think I care about value for money? Can you sell or not? Give me a straight answer. The female clerk looked troubled. Sir, this is a high-consumption venue. The goods sold here are generally valued above 1,000 gold coins. So, 1,000 gold coins. Converted into Huaxia currency, that was 100,000 yuan. The spending threshold really wasn't low. But no matter how tactfully she put it, her meaning was the same. She thought a level 1 player like me had no money. I didn't argue. Sometimes, the most powerful explanation wasn't words. It was money. Bang. I threw a bag of gold coins onto the counter. The heavy bag landed with a crisp, pleasant clinking of coins. There are 100,000 gold coins here. I looked at her. Is that enough? If not, I can add more. The smile on the female clerk's face froze completely. 100,000. She hurriedly checked the number of gold coins. After confirming that there was no mistake, she panicked entirely. Sir, please wait a moment. She turned and ran toward the corner, opened an internal communication light screen, and began reporting in a low voice. Before long, a middle-aged man in a black suit, his hair combed meticulously, hurried over. The female clerk followed behind him with her head lowered. From far away, the man stretched out both hands. Sir, I'm terribly sorry. I'm the business manager of the auction house. Xiaozhou only started working yesterday and isn't familiar with the rules. She neglected you. Please, I sincerely ask for your forgiveness. After saying that, he turned and glared at the female clerk. What are you standing there for? Hurry and apologize to our honored guest. The female clerk's face turned pale, and she bowed repeatedly. I'm sorry, sir. It was my error in judgment. Please forgive me. The commotion here immediately attracted everyone's attention in the hall. The dozen or so players all looked over at once. Their expressions were more colorful than the last. Am I seeing things? The auction house manager is apologizing to a level 1 player. Who is that kid? Look at the money bag on the counter. 100,000 gold coins. How much? 100,000. He can casually take out 100,000 gold coins at level 1? Which great family's crown prince is this? The surrounding discussions continued. Everyone was guessing my identity. I had no interest in cooperating with their imagination and directly looked at the manager. I'm in a hurry. Can I buy now? Of course. The manager smiled with incomparable enthusiasm. Sir, please follow me to the VIP room. Sure enough. Just a moment ago, it was turn right after leaving. Now it had directly become a VIP room. The greatest feature of this auction house might not be that it had many items. It was that it was realistic. I put away the gold coins and followed him into the internal passage. Inside the VIP room, there were high-end sofas and expensive tea sets, fully equipped. The manager personally poured tea and handed it to me with both hands. Sir, please have some. I took the teacup and sipped it. Let's get straight to business. Of course. The manager sat across from me. May I ask what type of equipment you wish to purchase? SSS-Rank equipment usable at level 1. Any recommendations? The teacup the manager had just picked up trembled. Tea nearly spilled onto his trousers. What rank? SSS-Rank. I repeated myself. The equipment level must be level 1. The manager stared at me as if trying to determine whether I was here to cause trouble. Sir, please don't joke. There are only a handful of existing SSS-Rank pieces of equipment among the human race. Every single one is a clan-suppressing treasure. Forget selling them. Even getting a look at one isn't something money alone can accomplish. He gave a bitter smile and shook his head. As for level 1 SSS-Rank equipment, I've worked at the auction house for more than 20 years, and I've never even heard of such a thing. So they were that rare? I already had 2 on me. Azura sword. Blood Dawn. Looks like I couldn't casually reveal equipment information in the future. Otherwise, just these 2 weapons alone would be enough to attract the attention of the human race's top factions. If there aren't any, forget it. I settled for the next best thing. What about SS rank? The manager's eyelids twitched again. You really want to buy? Did I come to the auction house just to drink tea? No. The manager hurriedly explained. I only wanted to remind you that level 1 equipment is replaced very quickly. Especially before level 20, players level up very fast. SS rank equipment is also extremely expensive. Investing so many gold coins might mean you can't use it anymore 10 minutes later. I set down the teacup. I buy. You sell. Mind less about other matters. The manager immediately shut his mouth. Understood. In any case, I was the one paying. He had already given the reminder he should. If he still didn't do this business, then there was something wrong with his brain. He got up and walked to the desk, quickly operating the light screen. Retrieve all Level 1 SS rank equipment. Send everything to VIP Room 3. A few minutes later, staff members pushed several metal display carts inside. Dozens of pieces of equipment filled the tea table. Helmets, chest armor, gauntlets, long swords, staffs. There were items for all kinds of classes. The manager stood beside them and introduced them. Sir, although our auction house doesn't have SSS rank equipment, our stock of Level 1 SS rank equipment is very sufficient. These pieces were basically forged by Grandmaster blacksmiths to practice their craft and accumulate experience. Their quality is extremely high. Every single one is highly sought after. He praised them to the skies. I casually picked up a gauntlet from the bottom. There was a layer of dust on it. Then I picked up the chest armor beside it. Even more dust. When I wiped it with my finger, I even left a clear streak. I looked up at him. Highly sought after? The manager's expression didn't change. It's mainly because the staff responsible for maintenance were somewhat negligent. I looked at several pieces of equipment whose packaging had clearly aged. How long have these been stored? Not long. Specifically, how long? The manager coughed lightly. The earliest one is probably slightly older than me. The corner of my mouth twitched. As expected, what highly sought-after goods? They were all inventory that couldn't be sold. Level 1 SS rank equipment was in an extremely awkward position. Ordinary players couldn't afford it. Rich players had no need to buy it. After all, normal people could level up to level 2 in as little as 10-something minutes, or at most 1 or 2 hours. Who would be willing to spend hundreds of thousands of times the price to buy a piece of equipment that would soon become obsolete? At most, they would buy it for collection to prove they had once been extravagant. But I was different. I would forever remain level 1. These pieces of equipment that gathered dust in other people's hands were actually the most suitable for me. The manager pointed at several mage items. Sir, you're holding a staff. If I'm not mistaken, you should be an esteemed mage. This flame robe is very suitable for you. It can increase. No need to introduce them. I interrupted directly. I'll choose myself. Of course. The manager tactfully stepped back. Please take your time. I'll brew another pot of tea for you. As soon as he left, I immediately activated the Eye of the Gods. The information of dozens of pieces of equipment surfaced at once. This sword has average attributes and is overpriced. Whoever buys it takes a loss. This robe comes with flame enhancement, but its defense is extremely low. Purchase not recommended. This ring was once worn by a Grandmaster blacksmith. Its collectible value is greater than its combat value. This piece of equipment has not yet been appraised, but you have already seen through it. I quickly filtered through them. No health equipment. No movement skills either. But I did find a set of equipment that increased speed. I first took out a warrior helmet. Helm of Hope, SSS rank. Equipment level, 1. Constitution, plus 20. Strength, plus 15. Set. Wind of Swift Travel. Immediately afterward, I picked up a pair of mage boots. Wind Spirit Boots, SS rank. Equipment level, 1. Intelligence, plus 18. Agility, plus 21. Set. Wind of Swift Travel. The two pieces belonged to the same set, but their class requirements were completely different. A normal player would never be able to equip them at the same time. But for me, it wasn't a problem. Chosen 1 allowed me to ignore class restrictions and equip items from any class. And the 5-piece effect of Wind of Swift Travel was exactly what I needed most right now. Wind of Swift Travel. Agility plus 200. After leaving combat, movement speed increases to 200% for 10 seconds. Double movement speed. With this equipment set, the travel time in Wolf King Valley could be cut by at least half. First place in history was guaranteed. But right now, there were only 2 pieces. I continued searching and quickly locked onto 3 unidentified pieces of equipment. Gauntlets, chest armor, leg guards. From the surface, aside from their SS rank quality, they had no attribute information at all. But under the Eye of the Gods, they had no secrets. They were all part of the Wind of Swift Travel set. All 5 pieces were complete. Suppressing my smile, I placed the equipment serial numbers together. At that moment, the manager returned with freshly brewed tea. When he saw the equipment I had chosen, his eyes immediately lit up. Sir, excellent taste. Wind of Swift Travel is one of our most popular level 1 sets. Whether for traveling or escaping, its effect is outstanding. However, he looked at the helmet, then at the mage boots. The equipment you selected involves different classes. Are you sure there won't be an issue? I glanced at him. When buying and selling, ask fewer questions. The manager immediately nodded. Understood. Calculate the price. Of course. The manager pulled up the price list and explained with a smile. To celebrate Demon Slayer's sudden rise, our auction house is currently holding a store-wide discount. All goods are discounted at a minimum of 20% off. The more items you purchase, the greater the discount. My expression became a little strange. Demon Slayer again? The school gave out benefits because of Demon Slayer. The auction house held an event because of Demon Slayer. The whole world was celebrating my appearance. Yet none of them knew that Demon Slayer himself was sitting here, taking advantage of the promotion. This event is pretty good. Thank Demon Slayer for me. The manager smiled. We truly should thank Demon Slayer. If not for his sudden rise, the human race would not have reignited its hope. What the hell do you mean, thank Demon Slayer? I thank myself? Tell me the price. The manager lowered his head and calculated. The Helm of Hope and Wind Spirit boots are 15,000 gold coins each after discount. The other 3 unidentified pieces of equipment are 80,000 gold coins each after discount. The 5 pieces of equipment total 540,000. You are an honored guest, so I'll take the liberty of removing the fraction for you. I'll charge you 500,000 gold coins. My motion of lifting the teacup paused. 500,000. Yes. 500,000 gold coins, equivalent to 50 million huaxia currency. For these few level 1 pieces of equipment that had been sitting in the warehouse gathering dust, he dared to charge me 50 million? Farewell. I set down the teacup, got up, and walked away. The movement was smooth and decisive, without the slightest hesitation. But the manager seemed to have expected this and hurriedly chased after me. Sir, the price can still be negotiated. There's nothing to negotiate. You can make a counteroffer. I stopped at the door and turned to look at him. You really want me to? Of course. One fixed price. I raised one finger. 5,000 gold coins per piece. The manager's smile disappeared. F5,000. Correct. Not a coin more. The manager fell silent. He probably really wanted to ask how I had the nerve to offer that price. The original price was over 100,000. I directly cut it down to 5,000. What I cut wasn't the price. It was the artery. Sir, the manager spoke with difficulty. Isn't your price slightly too low? Low. I pointed at the display cart. You know better than me how many years these pieces of equipment have been sitting here. The 2 with attributes can't form a set if sold alone. The other 3 don't even have attributes. Other than me, who would buy them? If you keep storing them, they'll only continue gathering dust in the warehouse. The manager was rendered speechless by my words. He looked back at those pieces of equipment, his expression extremely conflicted. 2 of them were indeed older than he was. If they still couldn't be sold, they might be passed down to the next manager. But 5,000 gold coins was far too low. How about this? I'll contact the equipment consignors. The final price will have to be decided by them. I glanced at the time. You have 5 minutes. No problem. The manager quickly returned to the desk and connected several communications in a row. His voice was very low. I couldn't hear the exact content, but from the way he kept wiping sweat, I could tell the negotiations weren't going smoothly. A few minutes later, he walked back. Sir, the sellers say 5,000 gold coins is too outrageous. They hope you can add a little more. I turned around and walked away. Then forget it. There's no way I'm adding money. You can keep these antiques as heirlooms. Sir, wait. The manager chased after me again. Is there really no room for discussion? No. Even adding 1,000 per piece? No. The appraisal fee for those 3 unidentified pieces is also very high. That has nothing to do with me. I walked out of the VIP room. Just as I reached the passage entrance, the manager's shout suddenly came from behind. The sellers agreed. I didn't stop walking. Too late. We'll also include 3 equipment appraisal talismans. I instantly stopped. Turned around. Deal. Manager. He understood now. This honored guest before him not only had money, he was also very good at saving it. Appraisal talismans were made by blacksmiths above level 100. The market price of one was at least 10,000 gold coins. 3 meant 30,000. The total price of the 5 pieces of equipment was only 25,000 gold coins. This meant the sellers were basically giving away the equipment for free and even paying an extra 5,000. This deal was a bloody profit. Of course, I was the one profiting. We returned to the VIP room. The manager generated the order. Helm of Hope, 5,000 gold coins. Wind Spirit Boots, 5,000 gold coins. Unidentified Gauntlets, 5,000 gold coins. Unidentified Chest Armor, 5,000 gold coins. Unidentified Leg Guards, 5,000 gold coins. Total, 25,000 gold coins. Pay. Transaction successful. 25,000 gold coins were deducted from my account. The manager immediately had the warehouse send over 3 appraisal talismans. Sir, would you like to appraise them now? Appraise them. Very well. The manager picked up the first appraisal talisman and placed it on the gauntlets. Light flashed. The hidden attributes quickly appeared. Dark Knight Gauntlets, SS-Rank. Equipment level, 1. Strength, plus 21. Intelligence, plus 12. Set. Wind of Swift Travel. The manager's professional smile stiffened slightly. Wind of Swift Travel. He looked at the helmet and boots I had chosen. A 3-piece set. Sir, your luck truly is quite good. Continue. The second appraisal talisman was placed on the chest armor. Dark Knight Chest Armor, SS-Rank. Equipment level, 1. Constitution, plus 18. Spirit, plus 15. Set. Wind of Swift Travel. The manager's hand trembled. Wind of Swift Travel again. A 4-piece set. He slowly raised his head and looked at me. His gaze had already changed. Sir, the last one. My expression remained calm. The manager swallowed, then placed the third appraisal talisman on the leg guards. Golden light shone. Dark Knight Leg Guards, SS-Rank. Equipment level, 1. Strength, plus 12. Agility, plus 16. Set. Wind of Swift Travel. The office fell completely silent. The manager stared at the 5 pieces of equipment, utterly numb. They were all Wind of Swift Travel. The 5-piece set was complete. I stood up from the sofa and patted him on the shoulder with a smile. Looks like my luck isn't bad. I casually picked 3 pieces, and they all turned out to be from the same set. Manager, thank you. I quickly put away the equipment. If I didn't leave now, I was afraid he might regret it. The manager didn't stop me. He was still in a state of massive shock. The value of set equipment as individual pieces and as a complete set was completely different. Loose pieces might be ignored for years, but once completed, the price could multiply several times, even dozens of times. A complete level 1 SS-Rank Wind of Swift Travel set, if it met a collector who needed it, would be worth at least several 100,000 gold coins. And they had just sold it for only 25,000. They had even thrown in 3 appraisal talismans. A crushing loss. But what truly shocked the manager wasn't the money. It was my selection. 5 pieces of equipment. 2 with known attributes. 3 unidentified. And yet after appraisal, they all turned out to be part of the same set. Could it really be such a coincidence? The manager looked up at the already empty doorway. No, he already knew. He can see through unidentified equipment. Thinking of this, the manager sucked in a cold breath. A talent capable of detecting hidden attributes was at least S-Rank. This level 1 young man was very likely one of the top geniuses of the new generation of the human race. His expression changed, and he immediately chased after me. By then, I had already walked out of the auction hall. I equipped all 5 pieces at once. Wind of Swift Travel 5-piece set activated. Agility plus 200. A light and nimble power surged into my body. My perception and reaction speed instantly improved. Detected that you have left combat. Movement speed increased to 200%. I took a step forward. Whoosh. My body almost left behind afterimages. One moment, I was still at the entrance of the auction house. The next second, I appeared dozens of meters away. This speed was worth it. A path that originally took 1 minute to run now only took 30 seconds. In Wolf King Valley, this could save me at least dozens of seconds. First place in history only required being 17 seconds faster. This time, I wouldn't merely take first. I would smash Emperor Mo's record into the ground and crush it hard. Sir, please wait. A shout suddenly came from behind me. I stopped. The manager chased all the way up to me, panting heavily. Is there something else? The manager didn't mention the loss on the equipment. Instead, he held a golden card in both hands and respectfully handed it to me. Sir, you are one of the most distinguished customers of our auction house. Please be sure to accept this auction house pass. I took the card. Auction house pass. Special bound item. Cannot be traded. Cannot be dropped. What does it do? The manager immediately explained. The pass is a symbol of your identity and strength. Currently, there is no public purchase channel for it. It can only be voluntarily gifted by the auction house. With this pass, you can permanently enjoy a 20% discount on any goods purchased in our auction house. You can also conduct remote transactions anytime and anywhere. If needed, you may also contact me directly, and I can help you search for, purchase, or sell items. Permanent 20% discount. Remote transactions. It was indeed useful. In the future, if I found equipment I couldn't use while farming, I wouldn't need to personally come to the auction house. I could just toss it to the manager to handle. Not bad. But how did I suddenly become a distinguished customer? The manager smiled. This is a rule set by our boss. Anyone who awakens an S rank or higher talent will automatically be listed as a VIP. You can see through unidentified equipment, so your talent is at least S rank. Therefore, you fully meet the requirements. So that was it. He had taken me for an S rank talent awakener. All I could say was, his judgment wasn't bad. But only barely. What I truly possessed wasn't just one S-rank talent. I'll accept the pass. Thank your boss for me. The manager smiled brightly. Of course. Also, my name is Wang Defa. You can call me AFA from now on. Wang Defa? Not a bad name. It sounded suitable for doing business. AFA. I currently need movement skill books, movement speed equipment, and items that increase constitution and health. If you find anything good, contact me directly. Wang Defa immediately nodded. Understood. I'll pay special attention to them for you. I put away the pass and headed straight for Azura City Square. Just now, an announcement had already sounded in the sky. Emergency maintenance has ended. The land of divine punishment has reopened. No time to waste. Run the dungeon. Stack health. Climb the rankings. I passed through the square and headed toward the teleportation area. Before connecting to the beginner map, one had to pass through the login temple again. White light flashed. I once again appeared in the familiar golden space. But before I could even stand steady, a rough voice exploded above my head. Hey, traveler. Welcome to the land of divine punishment. I was so startled that my entire body trembled, nearly pulling out my staff on the spot. What the hell? I suddenly looked up. At the spot where the goddess of dawn had originally hovered, there now stood a burly man. He was nearly 3 meters tall. His face was covered in a thick beard. On his shoulder rested a giant axe, even larger than me. The leather armor on his body looked like it hadn't been washed in several hundred years, and there was even half a piece of bread stuck in his beard. The burly man lazily glanced at me. I'm Galit. I'm temporarily responsible for receiving travelers. At this point, he yawned. Not very pleased to serve you. My head filled with black lines. Not very pleased? Yeah. Galit scratched his beard. I was drinking. Then I suddenly got dragged over to cover someone's shift. So, are you going to the land of divine punishment or not? If not, hurry up and leave. Don't interfere with my rest. I fell silent. Where was the goddess of dawn? Where was my huge goddess of dawn? The divine punishment system spent all that time in maintenance, and its solution was just to replace her with someone else? And it replaced her with this thing. I glanced at my palm. The white shackle mark was still there. The goddess of dawn was still inside the contract space. Sensing my consciousness, she immediately responded. Master, dawn awaits your command at all times. I relaxed. She was still there. It seemed the divine punishment system couldn't find the goddess of dawn and had no way to undo the contract. In the end, it could only temporarily transfer over a receptionist. It was just that this substitute felt a little too perfunctory. Traveler, Galit urged impatiently. Are you leaving or not? I looked at him. When will the goddess of dawn return? How would I know? Galit shifted the giant axe to his other shoulder. She might have gone missing. Or she might have been kidnapped. Who would dare kidnap a god? The land of divine punishment is huge. There are all kinds of lunatics. I silently looked away. He was right. The lunatic was standing right in front of him. Enter the beginner map. You should have said so earlier. Galad raised the giant axe and smashed it toward the Stargate. Bang! The Stargate was smashed open by him. Go in yourself. This service attitude was simply blatant. That maintenance had accomplished nothing. I was too lazy to argue with him and stepped straight into the Stargate. White light flickered. The next second, I reappeared in front of the Wolf King Valley dungeon entrance. The place had already returned to its lively state. Hundreds of level 50 players surrounded the dungeon entrance, voices calling for parties one after another. Level 50 knight looking for a party. Speed clear team needs a priest. Need a high burst mage. Talent at least B rank. Pushing for top 500, only A rank talents accepted. The world channel was equally explosive. But this time, they weren't discussing Demon Slayer. They were discussing the Goddess of Dawn. Where's my goddess? Why did she turn into a bearded giant man? That roar almost sent me away. Galad even told me to hurry up and get lost. You call that service? Did something happen to the Goddess of Dawn? I originally thought it was because I peeked at the goddess yesterday and got blacklisted individually. Seeing that you guys also got Galad, I feel relieved. Divine punishment system. Hurry up and give us back the Goddess of Dawn. Without the goddess, what meaning is there in living? Friend upstairs, my father is a professional funeral director. He's currently running a promotion. Interested in learning more? The world channel was filled with wails. Countless players were demanding that the divine punishment system return her. I glanced at the shackle mark on my palm and remained silent. Sorry, I can't return her for now. Since the Goddess of Dawn affects your leveling, then I alone shall bear this suffering. I'm truly great. At the bottom of the world channel, another familiar message floated by. Gu Xingxia, online and looking for a wife. Requirements, female, alive preferred. I directly closed the world channel. Then I arrived in front of the dungeon NPC and pulled up the historical rankings. Wolf King Valley Historical Clear Ranking. First place, Mo Wen's team. Time, 5 minutes 35 seconds. Rating, SSS. Second place, Yijibai's team. Time, 5 minutes 50 seconds. Rating, SSS. Third place, Demon Slayer. Party size 1. Time, 5 minutes 52 seconds. Rating, SSS. Looking at my own name, I smiled. Historical third place. Only 2 seconds behind second place. Only 17 seconds behind first place. And now, I had already gathered the wind of swift travel set. Agility increased by 200. Out of combat movement speed doubled. I also had Blood Dawn, which could permanently stack health by hitting monsters. This time, my goal wasn't just first place. And I also have to set a record that will make every latecomer utterly despair. The familiar talent notification suddenly rang out. A new day has begun. SSS-Rank talent, Descendant of God, has activated its daily blessing. You have obtained Dragon Phoenix Blood times 20. Dragon Phoenix Blood again. Yesterday, when I received this thing, I was so excited I could barely contain myself. Today, looking at it again, my heart no longer stirred at all. Just a few 100,000. I'll take it. I tossed the Dragon Phoenix Blood into my void bag and pressed my hand against the dungeon entrance. Warning, your level is far below the recommended level for this dungeon. Current party size, 1/5. Are you sure you want to enter Wolf King Valley? Confirm. White light swiftly enveloped my body. Only then did the surrounding players notice me. What's that level 1 mage trying to do? He's not entering the dungeon, is he? Wait, how is he qualified to? Before they could finish speaking, I had already vanished from the spot. Wolf King Valley. My second challenge had officially begun. I tightened my grip on Bloody Dawn, and the wind of swift movement erupted beneath my feet. Whoosh! My body turned into an afterimage as I charged into the valley. Mo1, Human Emperor. Your record ends here. The white light faded. I entered Wolf King Valley once more. This time, I had a full set of equipment. I had skills, and the route was already carved into my mind. There was only one goal: to thoroughly trample the record Mo1, the Human Emperor, had maintained for 198 years. Let's begin. The moment I landed, I immediately raised Bloody Dawn. Blazing light flash. Whoosh. Golden light wrapped around my body. My figure instantly disappeared, and when I reappeared, I was already 30 meters away. Blazing light, flash LV1. Dash 30 meters in the designated direction. Universal skill for all classes. Cooldown, 30 seconds. This was a skill I had just purchased remotely through my auction house pass. Price: 2,000 gold coins. Not expensive, but very practical. After landing, I didn't pause for even a moment. Staff in hand, I continued sprinting wildly. Ahead, the first pack of silver wolves had already discovered me. Whoa! A dozen silver wolves lowered their bodies at the same time. But before they could charge, I had already raised my staff. Fireball! Boom! A ball of crimson flame shot from the tip of my staff, crossed 15 meters, and smashed head-on into the silver wolf at the very front. The fireball exploded violently. Critical hit. Minus 22,821. The silver wolf had only a little over 5,000 HP. It didn't even have time to let out a scream before its body was instantly swallowed by flames. Silver wolf slain. EXP plus 1,100. Bloody Dawn has activated its permanent affix. Maximum HP permanently plus 10. Fireball. The most basic skill for fire mages. Auction house price: 10 gold coins. For an ordinary level 1 mage, dealing a few dozen points of damage with one fireball would already be considered decent. But in my hands, it had directly become an instant kill skill. The reason was simple. I had already used elemental conversion to modify it. Fireball LV1 deals 50 plus 120% of HP as fire element magic damage to the target. On top of that, I dealt 50% increased damage to demons. And the Azura sword provided 100% critical rate. One cast dealt more than 20,000 damage. How is a silver wolf supposed to tank that? It probably never imagined in its entire life that it would die to the most basic fireball. More importantly, after the silver wolf died, I immediately left combat. The wind of swift movement triggered right after. Out of combat. Movement speed increased to 200%. Boom. A fierce wind erupted from beneath my feet. My speed suddenly doubled. My entire body shot forward instantly, dragging afterimages behind me. I was so fast it looked like my body was running ahead while my soul desperately chased from behind. Still not enough. Faster. Ahead, another pack of silver wolves pounced toward me. Fireball was still on cooldown, but it didn't matter. What I lacked least right now was skills. Ice arrow. Whoosh. An icy blue arrow tore through the air and pierced through a silver wolf's head. Critical hit. Minus 21,390. Instant kill. Maximum HP permanently plus 10. I continued charging forward. The grass on my left suddenly burst apart. An elite silver wolf lunged out violently. I didn't even turn my head. I simply pointed my staff to the side. Lightning strike. Crack. Lightning descended from the sky. The elite silver wolf had just leapt into the air when it was struck head-on by lightning. Critical hit. Minus 24,560. Its body was charred black and crashed to the ground on the spot. Ahead, 5 silver wolves blocked the road at the same time. Rock burst. The ground suddenly split open. A sharp stone pillar shot into the sky, blasting all 5 silver wolves into the air. Blood-red damage numbers popped up simultaneously. All critical hits. All instant kills. Fireball. Ice arrow. Lightning strike. Rock burst. Hurricane. All of them were basic skills that could be learned at level 1. And I had Descendant of God, granting me mastery over all elements. I didn't need to care about class restrictions. I didn't need to consider elemental conflicts. Once I obtained them, I could learn them. Once I learned them, I could use them. Then, after elemental conversion, all these basic skills became HP scaling. Any one of them thrown out was an instant kill. I advanced all the way. Enter combat. Instant kill. Leave combat. Trigger wind of swift movement. Enter combat again. Instant kill again. The entire process kept repeating. My speed remained doubled the entire time. Combined with blazing light flash for movement, I no longer needed to painstakingly gather monsters like last time. If I saw one, I killed one. If I saw a group, I killed the group. Bloody Dawn's notifications also kept appearing. Maximum HP permanently plus 10. Maximum HP permanently plus 10. Maximum HP permanently plus 10. Monsters were dying. Experience was rising. My HP was also stacking like crazy. With sparks and lightning all the way, after a little over 3 minutes, I had already rushed to the deepest part of the valley. The Silver Wolf King was lying under the sunlight and had just opened its eyes. Lowly human. I glanced at the time. Stable. The Silver Wolf King slowly stood up. You dare trespass into this king's territory again. This time, this king will never. I raised my staff. Hurry up and show your HP bar. I'm in a rush. The Silver Wolf King roared furiously. Impudent. A mere human ant dares be so disrespectful to this king. This king will tear your body apart and make you suffer in despair. Silver Wolf King, 59500/59500. The HP bar finally appeared. This was the moment I had been waiting for. Judgment. Sanction. The two skills were released almost simultaneously. A golden pillar of light descended from the sky first. Immediately afterward, a giant sword of light tore through the clouds and locked onto the Silver Wolf King's head. Judgment check in progress. Sanction landed early. Boom. The light sword pierced through the Silver Wolf King's body. Critical hit. Minus 69,870. Its HP bar was instantly emptied. Judgment successful. The result of judgment finally arrived belatedly, but it was already useless. The Silver Wolf King didn't even have time to experience the weakened state before its body exploded within the radiance of sanction. Human ant. This is impossible. Its furious roar came to an abrupt end. The Silver Wolf King once again turned into ashes. Silver Wolf King slain. EXP plus 45,000. Maximum HP permanently plus 10. Wolf King Valley cleared successfully. The next second, a world announcement resounded throughout the land of divine punishment. Congratulations to player Demon Slayer for solo clearing the Wolf King Valley dungeon. Clear time, 3 minutes 59 seconds. Clear rating, SSS. Historical ranking. First, the announcement rang out. The entire land of divine punishment once again fell into silence. Countless players stopped what they were doing at the same time. Some were farming monsters. Some were challenging bosses. Others were resisting demon attacks in high-level maps. But at this moment, all of them raised their heads. 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Solo clear. Historical first. Yesterday, I had rushed to third place with 5 minutes and 52 seconds. Today, I directly shortened the time by nearly 2 minutes. The record MO1, the Human Emperor, had maintained for 198 years had officially been broken. The era of MO1's team was over. Wolf King Valley's clear record had also entered the sub-4-minute range for the first time. After a brief, dead silence, the land of divine punishment completely erupted. Demon Slayer refreshed the record again. Historical first. 3 minutes and 59 seconds? How did he do that? Yesterday, it was still 5 minutes and 52 seconds. Today, he's nearly 2 minutes faster. Only one day has passed. Where exactly is Demon Slayer's limit? No one knew the answer. But everyone understood one thing. The era belonging to Demon Slayer had begun. The Demon Slaying Institute. Azura City. The Red Chamber. The Supreme Command of the Divine Strategy Legion. The Human Alliance. Even the top forces of other countries were all startled by the announcement. Terrifying wills crossed space one after another, peering toward Wolf King Valley. They wanted to see Demon Slayer's class. They wanted to see Demon Slayer's talent. More than that, they wanted to follow the connection of divine punishment and uncover Demon Slayer's real-world identity. However, what they saw was only a blank void. Insufficient authority. Target is protected by supreme rules. Unable to view. Unable to lock on. Unable to trace. All prying attempts were blocked outside by supreme authority. You want to look at me? No chance. At this moment, I was still standing deep inside Wolf King Valley. I didn't care at all how crazy the outside world had become. Rankings were hollow. Rewards were real. Let me see. What does historical first give? The basic dungeon rewards were distributed first. Experience. A truckload of silver wolf meat. 2 pieces of level 50 A rank equipment. I didn't even bother looking at them. I threw them directly into my void bag. Immediately afterward, the true ranking reward appeared. Gold coins times 300,000. All attributes plus 200. Flame Forbidden Spell LV1. Forbidden Spell? My eyes lit up instantly. Forbidden spells were exclusive skills of the hidden class, Forbidden Spell Mage. Their power was no weaker than SSS-Rank skills. Most players would never have the chance to come into contact with one in their entire lives. Yet I had farmed the dungeon twice and was directly rewarded with one. The skill information quickly unfolded. Flame Forbidden Spell LV1. Launches a flame explosion against all enemies within a 100-meter radius, dealing 200 plus 270% of magic power as fire element magic damage. Against targets that are not fire element, applies the Heartfire Burning status. Heartfire Burning. The target is marked as weak to fire, increasing fire damage received by 50% for 2 hours. Cooldown 100 seconds. Mana cost 1000. I stared at the words 2 hours and fell silent for a moment. 100-meter area attack. And if the enemies didn't die, they would be afflicted with fire weakness. For 2 whole hours. After that, no matter who used fire element skills against them, damage would increase by 50%. This was a forbidden spell? This was blatant cheating. Very good. I like it. I directly chose to learn it. Flame Forbidden Spell learned successfully. My name was Su Yan. It was called Flame Forbidden Spell. Both names contained the character Yan. Rounding it up, this was basically my destined skill. More importantly, I could use elemental conversion to change its magic power scaling into HP scaling. 270% magic power, 270% HP. Conversion successful. With this, I had gained another large-scale instant kill skill. No wonder the 4 human emperors rose so quickly back then. Just farming a dungeon casually gives SSS-Rank equipment and forbidden spells. If it were me, I'd take off too. I put away the rewards and left the dungeon. White light flickered. The moment I appeared at the entrance, deafening shouts rushed toward me. Demon Slayer is out. It really is Demon Slayer. Historical first. Boss Demon Slayer, look over here. The dungeon entrance was already packed so tightly that not even water could get through. Hundreds of players surged forward. The lowest among them were level 50. There were also high-level players who had specially rushed over from other maps. Even several top experts above level 1000 were mixed into the crowd. Everyone surrounded me. They were so enthusiastic it was as if they wanted to lift me up on the spot. Boss Demon Slayer, can I add you as a friend? Do you take disciples? My talent is only B rank, but I can endure hardship. Boss, do you need followers? I don't need a salary. I have an A rank talent. Please party with me. Demon Slayer, I want to join your guild. The crowd squeezed closer and closer. I was indeed a little surprised, but I didn't dislike it. These people didn't come with malice. They were just too excited. After Dugujan's death, humanity had been suppressed for a full 2 years, and my appearance allowed them to see hope again. I raised my hand, signaling for silence. Sorry, I still need to keep farming the dungeon. Everyone, please disperse. As soon as I spoke, the crowd became even more excited instead. Boss Demon Slayer spoke. He's this strong, yet he's so approachable. Who said SSS rank talents are all cold monsters? Demon Slayer, are you going to refresh the record again? 3 minutes and 59 seconds still isn't your limit. Why are you always level 1? Boss Demon Slayer, how old are you in real life? Questions came one after another. I couldn't answer them at all. I could only look toward the dungeon NPC. Enter again. White light descended. My body rapidly disappeared. In the final second, I could still hear the shouts outside. Demon Slayer went in again. He really is going to refresh the record again. Don't leave, everyone. Wait right here. After entering the dungeon, I shook my head helplessly. These people, do they not need to level up? Next, I didn't continue pushing the record. 3 minutes and 59 seconds had already taken first place. There was no need to strain my nerves every time. What I needed to do now was farm experience. Stack HP. Become stronger. With Flame Forbidden Spell, I didn't even need to switch skills or weapons anymore. Enter the dungeon. Use Blazing Light Flash to travel. Use Flame Forbidden Spell to clear mobs. Use Judgment and Sanction to instantly kill the Silver Wolf King. The entire process became more and more practiced. Maximum HP permanently plus 10. Maximum HP permanently plus 10. Maximum HP permanently plus 10. On average, I could clear Wolf King Valley once every little over 4 minutes. Experience kept increasing. My HP bar also lengthened rapidly. After farming until noon, I was forcibly logged out of the land of divine punishment by the school. I headed straight for the cafeteria. Auntie, more rice, please. First bowl, second bowl, fifth bowl, 10th bowl. The cafeteria auntie's gaze toward me gradually changed from warm to wary. Student, are you sure you're okay? I'm fine. I put down the empty bowl. I'm still growing. This is growing? She glanced at the rice bucket that was already more than half empty. I think you're preparing to grow into a mountain. After lunch, I immediately returned to the classroom, connected to divine punishment. Logged back in. The white light faded, and I appeared at the entrance of Wolf King Valley. Then, I fell silent. There was still a huge crowd outside. Not a single one had left. They stared eagerly at the dungeon entrance, as if they were waiting for some historic moment. No way. Do you people really not need to level up? I hid within the crowd and listened for a while before finally understanding. All these people were waiting for me to continue refreshing the record. In the morning, I had farmed the dungeon many more times. But because my goal had changed to stacking HP and farming EXP, my mentality had also relaxed, so my results had never entered the 4-minute range again. Yet the spectators refused to leave. They firmly believed that I could still go faster. At the edge of the crowd, beneath a crooked old tree, a warrior as high as level 1352 leaned against the trunk, holding a broken-edged greatsword. He glanced at the dungeon entrance and shook his head. No announcement after so long. Looks like 3 minutes and 59 seconds is Demon Slayer's limit. A female player stood beside him. Perhaps. The warrior smiled. No matter how strong one person is, there should always be a limit. 3 minutes and 59 seconds is already monstrous enough. If he wants to be faster, unless he can stand at the dungeon entrance and kill every monster with one move. Is that possible? The female player did not answer. The warrior straightened up. Let's go. The boss is urging us. If we wait any longer, it'll only be a waste of time. The two were about to leave. But at that moment, a scorching heat suddenly came from the palm of my right hand. Buzz. The white shackle mark was emitting a blood-red glow. I raised my hand and froze for a moment. Dawn. I had almost forgotten about her. I immediately focused my mind and established contact with the shackle mark. A moment later, an ethereal and respectful voice rang out in my mind. Master, Dawn awaits your summons. An idea suddenly appeared in my mind. Dawn, can you farm the dungeon for me? After a brief silence, she answered gently. Of course. As long as it is Master's command, Dawn will naturally complete it. My heartbeat suddenly quickened. How do I summon you? Master only needs to release the shackle mark. Dawn will solve everything for you. Solve everything. When a god spoke those 4 words, their weight was extraordinary. I immediately ended the communication and raised my hand to rub my brow. With my current strength, directly communicating mentally with a god was still a little strenuous. But the problem wasn't big. Soon, I found a new skill in my skill bar. Summon God LV1. Summons the contracted god within the divine shackle and opens a temporary divine domain. Duration, 5 minutes. Cooldown, 2 hours. A 2-hour cooldown. There was still a long time before school ended. At least I could use it twice. Then what was there to wait for? Let's try it. I walked up to the dungeon NPC. Enter Wolf King Valley. White light descended. The surrounding players instantly discovered me. Demon Slayer appeared. He entered the dungeon again. Start the timer. Everyone, don't blink. At this moment, I was already standing at the entrance of Wolf King Valley. Cold wind blew toward my face. Wolf howls rang out from the depths. I didn't hurry forward. I didn't cast Blazing Light Flash. Nor did I prepare Flame Forbidden Spell. I only raised my right hand. The shackle mark in my palm lit up rapidly. Come out. Goddess Dawn. Boom. Endless divine power surged out from the shackle mark. In just an instant, the entire Wolf King Valley was enveloped by divine might. The dimness quickly faded. Holy dawn light scattered down from the sky. Awoo. In the valley, 60 silver wolves howled in terror at the same time. 6 elite silver wolves prostrated on the ground, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. Even the silver wolf king in the deepest part of the valley suddenly opened its eyes. No. What power is this? A god. Why would a god descend into a beginner dungeon? It turned around and tried to flee, but the entire space had already frozen. Time seemed to stop. On the valley's stone walls, silver flowers grew wildly one after another. In the blink of an eye, the entire dungeon turned into a sea of flowers. Then, a snow-white bare foot stepped out from the void. Silver-white hair fluttered with the wind. Holy divine light surrounded her entire body. The goddess Dawn slowly appeared beside me. She opened her divine eyes. She did not look at the silver wolves. She did not look at the elite monsters. She didn't even care about the Silver Wolf King deep inside the dungeon. She merely raised her arm. Her fingertip pointed forward. Perish. Only one word. Divine power spread out with it. There was no explosion, no scream, no resistance whatsoever. Wherever divine power passed, all demonic creatures froze at the same time. Silver wolves, elite silver wolves, the Silver Wolf King, all turned into ashes. Silver wolf slain. EXP plus 1,100. Maximum HP permanently plus 10. Elite silver wolf slain. EXP plus 1,200. Maximum HP permanently plus 10. Silver Wolf King slain. EXP plus 45,000. Maximum HP permanently plus 10. Dense notifications instantly filled my vision. I stood in place, not even having had time to raise my staff. The dungeon was over. That's it. I had thought that after summoning Goddess Dawn, it would still take at least a minute or two. In the end, she merely stretched out a finger. The entire dungeon was gone. So this was a god? They weren't even in the same dimension as players. Goddess Dawn turned around. She bowed slightly toward me. Master, Dawn has followed your command and erased all targets. I suppressed my shock and tried my best to appear calm. Well done. Goddess Dawn raised her eyes. Our gazes met. Through the contract, I could clearly sense her absolute obedience. At the same time, the world announcement rang out again. Congratulations to player Demon Slayer for solo clearing the Wolf King Valley dungeon. Clear time, for seconds. Clear rating. The announcement fell. At the entrance of Wolf King Valley, everyone froze. The 1,000-level warrior who had just been about to leave suddenly stopped in his tracks. He slowly raised his head. The confidence on his face completely disappeared. For seconds, the female player beside him was likewise filled with shock. Demon Slayer refreshed the record again, and he only used 4 seconds. The warrior tightened his grip on his broken-edged greatsword. How is that possible? What can you do in 4 seconds? It takes more than 4 seconds just to run from the dungeon entrance to the first group of monsters. How exactly did he clear it? No one could answer, because this result had completely exceeded players' understanding. In the World Channel, the style became even more direct. The entire channel was occupied by question marks. No one knew what to say. 3 minutes and 59 seconds could at least be barely understood. Maybe his speed was extremely fast. Maybe his damage was extremely high. Or maybe he had mastered a special route. But 4 seconds? That was no longer fast. That was entering the dungeon, and the dungeon dying on its own. After the brief flood of question marks, the World Channel completely exploded. Players expressed their shock in the most intense ways. Some ran wildly through the main city square. Some jumped onto rooftops and waved their weapons. There were even legions fighting on the front line who directly shouted Demon Slayer's name and launched a charge toward the demon positions. 4-second clear. Demon Slayer is humanity's god. Who still dares say 3 minutes and 59 seconds was his limit? Even Human Emperor Mo, one would fall silent after seeing this. Human Emperor Yi Bai needed 45 minutes to solo clear back then. Demon Slayer only needs 4 seconds. 4-second real man. What class exactly is Boss Demon Slayer? So what if he's level 1? Level 1 can still stomp the dungeon flat. Wolf King Valley's new record had officially been born. For seconds, a number enough to make every latecomer despair. The celebration lasted for a long time. When the World Channel finally quieted a little, a highlighted message suddenly swept across. Demon Slayer. Does anyone know the demon god? Demon Slayer. Please introduce me. Demon Slayer. I want to have a talk with it. The World Channel went silent again. Several seconds later, countless players lost control at the same time. Listen to this. Is this something a level 1 player should be saying? Other people finish a dungeon and look for the next dungeon. Demon Slayer finishes a dungeon and directly looks for the demon god. Demon god. A mere level 1 human dares provoke me? What? It's Demon Slayer. Then never mind. The name Demon Slayer already made it very clear. He created the account with the goal of slaying the demon god. So what if he's level 1? Level 1 can still fight the demon god. I hereby call Demon Slayer the strongest awakened talent user in history. Even those old monsters who had lurked for years and had not publicly appeared for over a century began showing themselves one after another. Some expressed support. Some sent invitations. Some even directly declared that as long as Demon Slayer needed it, they were willing to personally protect his path. At the bottom of the world channel, an ill-timed message floated by. Gu Xingxia, looking for a wife online. Female, alive. No one paid attention to him. Today, all of humanity was Demon Slayer's fanatical supporter. No one could steal the spotlight. Above Azura City's sky, the violent wind howled. A figure in white stood with hands behind his back. Another figure was wrapped in lightning, hidden within the void. The man in white looked toward Wolf King Valley. For seconds, does such a terrifying talent truly exist in this world? The figure within the lightning replied indifferently. You already have the answer in your heart. Why ask again? The man in white was silent for a moment. But why is Demon Slayer still level 1? He has already cleared Wolf King Valley dozens of times. That experience should have long since raised him to level 10 or higher. Lightning slowly surged. He is different from us. If I'm not mistaken, he possesses at least 2 SSS-Rank talents. The man in white suddenly turned around. 2. Can one person truly awaken 2 talents at the same time? The world is vast, far beyond what you and I can comprehend. The voice within the lightning was incomparably calm. Demon Slayer's future achievements will certainly surpass everyone. He will become the strongest person in human history. The man in white's breath caught. The strongest. After a moment, he spoke again. If that is the case, why doesn't the Demon Slaying Institute activate the Dawn Plan? Protect Demon Slayer 24 hours a day. Provide him with humanity's best resources. Ensure his safe growth. There is no need. Why? The figure within the lightning gazed into the void. Because even I cannot discover Demon Slayer's identity. His real-world information, divine punishment information, and the connection between the two are all protected by the rules of creation. This is the will of divine punishment, and also Demon Slayer's own choice. The man in white clenched his fists. But if such a genius meets with disaster, humanity cannot bear the loss. The rise of a strong person is destined to be something no one else can replace. What we can do is wait. The lightning began to dissipate. Humanity's future. Perhaps it truly will rest on him alone. The man in white suddenly raised his head. Wait. I still have one question. A faint voice drifted on the wind. Don't ask. If you ask again, you'll die. The lightning completely vanished. The man in white stood alone above the sky, his expression shaken. He was at the peak of the War God realm. He possessed an SS-Rank talent. He was also the current master of the Demon Slaying Institute. Yet when it came to Demon Slayer, he could only ask this much. If he continued asking, he would die? What exactly was hidden on Demon Slayer? Inside Wolf King Valley. After sending the world messages, I waited for a while. No one could truly provide the demon god's contact information. I wasn't surprised. The demon god was the source of humanity's disaster. 200 years ago, the land of divine punishment descended. At the same time, the demon army under the demon god invaded Blue Star. Countless cities were destroyed. Many countries became uninhabited zones. Only after all nations united and formed the Human Alliance did humanity barely manage to stop the demon invasion. Later, the 4 human emperors of Huaxiao rose. Only then did humanity possess the strength to directly confront the demons. But no matter how brutal the war became, the demon god had never personally appeared. It had always existed only in legends. No one knew where it was. No one had seen its true form. But I was different. I had divine shackles. Goddess Dawn was a god. The demon god was also a god. Since Goddess Dawn could be shackled, the demon god should be shackleable too. The demons had tormented humanity so badly. So if I captured the demon god and made it my subordinate, that shouldn't be a problem, right? The only difficulty was that I couldn't find it. That was why I publicly provoked it in the World Channel. I wanted the demon god to notice me. Best case, it would charge into the land of divine punishment in a rage to find me. When that time came, shackles on, contract signed, war over. Perfect. I raised my head toward the sky, lifted a finger, and made an extremely provocative gesture. Demon God, I'm right here. If you have the guts, come find me. The sky gave no response. Not even a cloud moved. You're pretty good at enduring, huh? I sneered. From now on, every day I log in, I'll publicly greet you once. Let's see how long you can endure. At this time, the divine light around Goddess Dawn suddenly flickered. 5 minutes were up. Her figure gradually became transparent. Master, the duration of Summon God is about to end. Dawn will continue awaiting your commands in the shackle space. I nodded. Go back. Goddess Dawn bowed slightly. Then she transformed into holy light and returned to the mark in my palm. The silver sea of flowers in the valley quickly disappeared. I noted the time. Summon God LV1, duration 5 minutes. Cooldown 2 hours. If I wanted to increase the duration, I had to raise the skill level. I checked the upgrade requirements. Summon God LV1, LV2. Requires EXP 1999999. Blood Silver Flower times 10. Demon Core Heart times 1. I was silent for 2 seconds. 20 million EXP. And 2 materials I had never even heard of. For me, a level 1 newbie, this was clearly beyond the syllabus. Forget it. I'll first thoroughly farm the beginner map. Goddess Dawn was indeed powerful, but I couldn't rely on her forever. The 2-hour cooldown was too restrictive. What truly determined my future was still my own strength. Farming EXP, stacking HP, increasing attributes. These were the proper matters. I rolled my shoulders and was just about to continue challenging the dungeon when a new notification suddenly popped up. Detected that you cleared Wolf King Valley in 4 seconds. Hidden ranking rewards have been issued. My eyes instantly lit up. I had already received the first place reward. This time, I had only refreshed the record, yet there was actually a hidden reward? Hurry up and let me see. I opened my void bag. 4 rewards appeared at the same time. Gold coins times 500000. All attributes plus 200. Divine Domain LV1. Dungeon Eternal Mark. For items, 1 more than the historical first reward. I looked at the gold coins first. 500,000 gold coins, equivalent to 50 million Huaxia currency. Adding the 300,000 plus gold coins I had left before, my current assets were already close to 100 million Huaxia currency. 2 days ago, all my savings were only 2 digits. 2 days later, I was almost at my first small goal. Anyone would become inflated. Countless spending plans instantly appeared in my mind. Mansion, luxury car, top-tier equipment, and a whole room full of connection crystals. But very soon, I shook my head. Calm down. Now isn't the time to enjoy life. Money must first be converted into strength. If my strength was sufficient, money would only increase. If my strength was insufficient, no matter how much money I had, it would only become someone else's spoils. I suppressed my urge to spend and looked at the second reward. All attributes plus 200. This is the real good stuff. The reward immediately merged into my body. A warm current swept through me. My 5 core attributes surged again. Constitution, 842. Spirit, 510. Strength, 510. Intelligence, 510. Agility, 577. I clenched my fist. The air in my palm let out a soft pop. Right now, just relying on my basic attributes, I should already be able to crush most level 100 players. But it still wasn't enough. My enemies weren't level 100 players. They were demons, the demon god, and perhaps even existences of an even higher level. Keep working hard. I looked at the third reward. Divine Domain LV1. Opens a divine domain centered on yourself. Domain range, 100 times level superscript 2 meters. Within the domain, your all attributes increase by 1,000 points, and your critical rate increases by 100%. All hostile targets, all attributes decrease by 50%. Duration, 20 seconds. Cooldown, 2 hours. Mana cost, 1,000. I stared at the skill description. This is way too unreasonable. Once the domain opened, my all attributes would directly increase by 1,000. Enemy all attributes would be cut in half. With one side increasing and the other decreasing, the gap would instantly widen. Same level battle? Doesn't exist. Even fighting above my level would look like bullying. In the morning, I had just obtained Flame Forbidden Spell. In the afternoon, I obtained Divine Domain. This speed of acquiring skills was practically like stocking goods. But I knew clearly in my heart, this wasn't a reward just anyone could obtain. Want it? Then first clear Wolf King Valley in 4 seconds. The final reward was a mark emitting an ancient aura. Dungeon Eternal Mark. Your strength has exceeded the dungeon rules of Wolf King Valley. You may leave a permanent mark within this dungeon for future players to observe and worship. Permanent mark? I rubbed my chin. Something like I was here. The difference was that if you scribbled randomly, people would scold you for having no manners. But the Dungeon Eternal mark was officially certified by the system. Since it could be permanently preserved, I should write something meaningful. I walked behind the Silver Wolf King's lair. I pulled out the Azura sword. The blade pressed against the stone wall. Swish, swish, swish. Crushed stone flew everywhere. A line of large characters quickly took shape, seeking Demon God's address. Urgent. I took 2 steps back and admired it seriously. The handwriting was vigorous. Sword intent crisscrossed. The content was also very clear. Not bad. Do you want to set the current sword mark as the Dungeon Eternal mark? Confirm. Buzz. Golden light covered the stone wall. The entire line of words was instantly branded into the dungeon rules. Eternal sword mark generated successfully. All players who enter Wolf King Valley may observe and worship it once. For every player who completes worship, you will gain 1 EXP. The smile on my face stiffened. 1 point. Who needs this 1 point of EXP? I need 99,999,999,999 EXP to level up. Isn't this just treating me like a beggar? I was just about to complain when the system announcement suddenly resounded throughout the land of divine punishment. World announcement. Player Demon Slayer has left a permanent sword mark in the Wolf King Valley dungeon. All players may enter the dungeon to observe and worship it. By worshiping the sword mark, there is a chance to gain special comprehension and unexpected rewards. After hearing the announcement, I suddenly fell silent. All players could worship it. Each person gave me 1 EXP. 1 person indeed wasn't much. But what if it was 100 million people? 1 billion people? How many surviving players did the entire human race have? I looked at the line of words on the stone wall, and my eyes grew brighter and brighter. Wait, this reward seems more valuable than I imagined. The world announcement echoed through the skies above the land of divine punishment. Player Demon Slayer has left a permanent sword mark in Wolf King Valley. Players may enter the dungeon to observe and worship it, with a chance to obtain special rewards. Everyone was stunned. What's a permanent sword mark? You can even leave something like that in a dungeon? The land of divine punishment has descended for 200 years. Who has ever heard of this kind of gameplay? The world channel was instantly flooded with question marks. A level 666 player popped up. Can some big shot explain? This newbie really doesn't understand. Immediately afterward, another level 888 player followed up. As a fellow newbie, I also want to know. You two shut up right now. If you're newbies, then what am I, a level 66 player? Stop arguing. Hurry up and invite the 3 human emperors. Not only ordinary players. Even those war god-level experts who had lived for over 100 years and guarded high-level maps year-round fell silent. A dungeon sword mark? Unheard of. Could this be a special reward for clearing in 4 seconds? Only later did I learn that when the announcement rang out, 2 Divine Strategy Army experts happened to be standing under the crooked tree outside Wolf King Valley. One was named Jin Pe, a level 1352 warrior. The other was named Feng Ling, a level 999 hidden class holder. Jin Pe held a broken-edged greatsword and frowned at the announcement. Permanent sword mark. And it can be observed? Feng Ling only replied with 3 words. Go in and see. Jin Pe froze for a moment. Ling, this is only a level 50 dungeon. For levels like ours, going in won't even give experience. You don't really think observing that sword mark can give rewards, do you? Just look. Feng Ling had already walked toward the dungeon entrance. Jin Pe could only follow. The Divine Strategy Army is still urging us. We only have 2 minutes at most. That's enough. The 2 walked toward the dungeon entrance. When the surrounding players saw the badges they wore, they immediately retreated to both sides. The Divine Strategy Army. And they're from the Divine Machine Camp. Human Emperor Dugu came from the Divine Machine Camp back then. To enter the Divine Machine Camp, the minimum talent requirement is S rank. The crowd automatically opened a path. Everyone looked at the 2 of them with awe. These were not some internet-famous experts. They were human elites who had fought their way out of real battlefields. Someone noticed the level above Feng Ling's head. Strange. Why is she only level 999? Isn't the entry standard for the Divine Machine Camp level 1000? The person beside him hurriedly covered his mouth. If you want to die, don't drag us down with you. Feng Ling's footsteps paused for half a second, but she did not turn around and directly entered the dungeon. White light flashed. The two appeared in Wolf King Valley. Jianpe looked at the familiar valley path before him, his expression becoming complicated. Ling, have you really decided to go to the land of Nine Nether? Feng Ling continued forward. You know, I have no other choice. Is there truly no way to break through? If there were, I wouldn't have been trapped for 15 years. Feng Ling had once been one of humanity's most dazzling geniuses. 20 years ago, she appeared out of nowhere. Relying on her powerful talent and hidden class, she reached level 999 in only 5 years. At that time, everyone said she would definitely become a war god. But when she tried to break through to level 1000, she failed. Because of the restriction of her hidden class, her strength attribute was insufficient. If she wanted to increase her attributes, she had to enter a higher level map. But if she wanted to unlock a higher level map, she had to complete her breakthrough first. A dead end. For 15 full years, Feng Ling had tried every method. Dungeon rankings, special equipment, attribute potions, all failed. Now, only one path remained. Enter the depths of the land of Nine Nether and search for a demon core heart. Then ask a grandmaster alchemist to refine it into an attribute-increasing potion. But the land of Nine Nether was publicly recognized by humanity as a land of death. Those who entered never came back alive. Jianpe tightened his grip on the broken-edged greatsword. Although you're only level 999 right now, there are few people below level 1300 who are your match. Why must you break through? If you stay in the Divine Machine camp, you can still live well. Feng Ling fell silent for a few seconds. Then she turned back to look at Jianpe. Brother, do you want me to live like this for the rest of my life? Jianpe's body shook. Feng Ling hadn't called him that in 15 years. She smiled very gently. I don't want to keep living in compromise. Even if the land of Nine Nether is a dead road, I still want to try. Jianpe was silent for a long time. Finally, he loosened his grip on the sword hilt. Fine. I respect your choice. Feng Ling turned around again. Before leaving, being able to personally witness demon slayers rise can be considered having no regrets. Let's go look at the sword mark first. We only have 1 minute left. That's enough. Bang! Black mist erupted from Feng Ling's body. Her seemingly delicate body instantly transformed into a pitch-black shadow. This was her hidden class, Dark Knight Enchantress. The misty shadow rose from the ground, dragging long trails of black energy as it flew toward the depths of the valley. The silver wolves along the way had just raised their heads when their bodies silently collapsed. The elite silver wolves tried to charge, but after taking only one step, their HP was instantly drained dry by dark power. A dozen seconds later, the Silver Wolf King's miserable scream came from the end of the valley path. Jianpe followed behind her with the broken-edged greatsword on his shoulder, unable to help feeling envious. Dark Knight Enchantress is seriously fast at traveling. Soon, the two arrived at the deepest part of the valley. The Silver Wolf King had already fallen to the ground. On the stone wall behind it, a line of sword-carved characters was emitting faint golden light, seeking Demon God's home address. Urgent. Jianpe's mouth twitched violently when he saw the content. No, this is the permanent sword mark all of humanity was looking forward to. Seeking the Demon God's address, my ass. If I knew it, I would have gone to the Human Alliance to claim the reward long ago. Feng Ling was also stunned for a moment. Clearly, she hadn't expected me to leave behind such a sentence. At that moment, a system prompt popped up. Discovered the permanent sword mark left by Demon Slayer. Do you wish to enter observation state? Jianpe stared at the line of words, his expression doubtful. This sword mark doesn't look very serious. Can it really give rewards? Though his mouth was full of disdain, his movements were not slow at all. Observe. Observing sword mark. Your will resonates with the sword mark. You have comprehended the profundity of class advancement from the sword intent. Congratulations, you have obtained one opportunity to change classes again. The casual expression on Jianpe's face instantly vanished. What? He read the prompt from beginning to end 3 times. After confirming he hadn't misread it, his hands, which had wielded a sword and killed enemies for over 100 years, actually began trembling. A class change opportunity. I really obtained a chance to change classes again. His current class had long since reached its limit. As long as he changed classes again, he would be able to break through his bottleneck. His strength would rise by at least another level. Aling, look, I can change classes now. Jianpe turned around excitedly. But in the next second, he froze on the spot. Fengling stood before the stone wall with her eyes closed. A powerful aura was surging crazily inside her body. Stronger and stronger. Hotter and hotter. Boom. Golden light erupted from Fengling's body. The entire valley was illuminated golden. The level above her head began to flicker. Fengling LV 999. Breaking through. Breakthrough successful. Fengling LV 1000. Fengling slowly opened her eyes. She looked at her own hands, and even her voice trembled. I broke through. Jianpe opened his mouth wide. For a long while, he couldn't say a single word. Then he threw his head back and laughed wildly. He laughed like a child over 300 months old. He laughed until his jaw dislocated, then slapped it back into place and continued laughing. She broke through. The bottleneck that trapped you for 15 years is finally broken. Excellent. Aling, this is truly excellent. Level 1000. Only one level apart, yet it had separated Fengling for 15 whole years. Now, a single sword mark had directly helped her cross it. Fengling looked at her brother dancing around with joy, her eyes slightly red. Yes, brother. Jianpe's laughter came to an abrupt stop. He turned away and quickly wiped his eyes. You're finally willing to call me brother again. Fengling walked to his side and also looked toward the sword mark on the stone wall. The originally somewhat absurd line of words was now completely different in their eyes. Jianpe said excitedly, Demon Slayer's sword mark is too powerful. You broke through to level 1000. I obtained a class change opportunity. It's one thing for him to rise himself, but he can actually grant opportunities to all of humanity. Even the 4 human emperors back then couldn't do something like this. Fengling nodded gently. She looked at the sword mark, her gaze lingering for a long time. Jianpe immediately opened the world channel. We have to tell everyone. Let all players come observe it. 2 minutes later, the world channel was still noisy and chaotic. Has anyone entered the dungeon? What reward does the sword mark give exactly? As long as the reward is good enough, I'll immediately buy a teleport scroll back to the beginner map. Stop asking. Our team is still fighting the first pack of silver wolves. Wait, where's the healer? The healer was reading the world channel just now and got slapped to death by a silver wolf. Any big shot willing to carry me to observe the sword mark? Level 5, beautiful female knight online begging for carry. What talent? E-rank. E-rank won't do. At least C-rank. I have other E-rank advantages too. Send coordinates. Just as the channel was getting more and more crooked, a message suddenly appeared. Fengling. Thank you, Demon Slayer. Fengling. Your sword mark gave me a new life. Fengling. I will remember this kindness for the rest of my life. At first, many people didn't pay attention, until someone clicked on Fengling's information. Level 1000. Affiliation, Huaxia Divine Strategy Legion Divine Machine Camp. The world channel exploded instantly. 1000-level big shot. Senior Fengling has already finished observing the sword mark. What does new life mean? A level 99 player, relying on not having checked her level, directly urged. Sister Fengling, don't leave us hanging. What kind of new life? After clicking on her information, he changed his tune on the spot. Grandma Fengling, I was wrong. Your grandson spoke too loudly just now. Please don't mind. More and more people began asking. But Fengling did not explain. Until Jianpe personally appeared. Jianpe. I'll explain. Jianpe. Fengling was trapped at level 999 for 15 years. Jianpe. After observing Demon Slayer's sword mark just now, she successfully broke through to level 1000. Jianpe. I also obtained one class change opportunity from the sword mark. Jianpe. So it can be confirmed that Demon Slayer's sword mark possesses an incredible power. Jianpe. Those who can go should go immediately. Jianpe. Also, when drinking water, don't forget the person who dug the well. After obtaining an opportunity, don't forget to thank Demon Slayer. Boom. The message was sent. The entire world channel lost control on the spot. Immediately afterward, the news spread across Huaxia, across the Human Alliance, across all of Blue Star. Countless players dropped what they were doing and rushed madly toward the beginner map. The price of teleport scrolls skyrocketed instantly. Outside the Wolf King Valley dungeon, the crowd became even more packed. 2 minutes later, new messages appeared. It's real. I observed the sword mark and obtained a second talent awakening opportunity. I obtained a clue to a hidden class. I can change classes again too. Thank you, Demon Slayer. Thank you, Demon Slayer. Thank you, Demon Slayer. More and more players obtained rewards. The world channel was completely flooded with "Thank you, Demon Slayer." And that day became the darkest day in the Silver Wolf King's entire life. To observe the sword mark, players first had to clear the dungeon. So countless teams began frantically killing the Silver Wolf King. In just a few hours, the Silver Wolf King directly climbed to the top of the 24-hour boss kill ranking. As for me, I had just finished another dungeon run. Achoo, achoo, I rubbed my nose. Who's talking about me? The world channel was densely packed with messages of thanks. Especially a 1,000-level player named Feng Ling, who actually said she would be grateful to me for a lifetime. Isn't that a bit exaggerated? I smiled. Although I didn't know her, seeing that my sword mark could truly help humanity made me feel a genuine sense of accomplishment. The next second, experience notifications began popping up crazily. Someone has completed sword mark observation. EXP +1. EXP +1. EXP +1. The prompts appeared too quickly, almost merging into one continuous stream. At first, I didn't care. Just 1 point of EXP. What could that do? But when I casually opened my EXP bar, I froze completely. Current EXP 56,000,000 plus /99, 999, 999, 999. How much? I quickly took out a magnifying glass and confirmed it carefully. More than 56 million. I clearly remembered that before leaving the sword mark, I only had a little over 6 million EXP. In other words, in just a few minutes, nearly 50 million players had completed observation. I sucked in a cold breath. Sorry, I was shallow. One person giving only 1 EXP was indeed little. But what if tens of millions of people, hundreds of millions of people, or even all of humanity came to observe it? I wouldn't need to do anything. I could gain experience while lying down. Dungeon Eternal Mark. How is this a sword mark? This is a fully automatic EXP harvester. Right now, I had only one wish. Please give me more rewards like this in the future. But I did not sink into the outside world's praise. The sword mark could provide EXP. But Bloody Dawn's HP affix could only be stacked by personally farming monsters. So, I still had to farm the dungeon. For the entire afternoon that followed, I practically lived inside Wolf King Valley. Enter. Cast Forbidden Spell. Instantly kill the Silver Wolf King. Exit. Enter again. The same process repeated over and over. By the end, just seeing the Silver Wolf King's face made me want to vomit. And when the Silver Wolf King saw me, it probably wanted to vomit first as a sign of respect. Finally, before school ended, my HP broke through 100,000. HP 100,000 plus. Level 1. 100,000 HP. Already approaching top tier level, 200 players. If I activated Divine Domain, Sanctions damage could even break through 1.5 million. This damage, instantly killing a level 200 boss, should be no problem. I stared at my status panel, my heart growing hotter and hotter. Continuing to stay in the beginner map no longer had meaning. The monsters in a level 50 dungeon couldn't withstand any of my skills at all. There was too much damage overflow. The experience efficiency was also far from enough. Changing maps was inevitable. But a new problem appeared. According to the rules of Divine Punishment, players had to reach level 50 and complete the breakthrough mission before they could unlock the next map. But I was locked at level 1 by the Wrath of God Mage. Other people don't have enough levels. I can't level up at all. How am I supposed to leave? School ended. My consciousness was forcibly sent back to reality. I sat in the last row and sighed while looking at the connection crystal. Beside me, another sigh sounded. I turned to look at Tang Xia. What are you sighing for? Tang Xia fiddled with her ponytail, her face full of envy. What else? Of course it's the sword mark left by Demon Slayer. I heard someone directly obtained a second awakening opportunity after observing it. I want to go too. I glanced at her. What level are you? Level 12. You dare go to Wolf King Valley at level 12. I laughed without mercy. The moment you leave the farm, the roadside monsters will teach you how to behave. Tangxia immediately became unhappy. She raised her foot to kick me. But halfway through the motion, she suddenly realized she was wearing a school uniform skirt. She hurriedly pressed down the hem, blushing as she stepped back. What are you looking at? I immediately looked away. I didn't see anything. You'd better not have. She glared at me angrily. Daddy here is already level 12. What about you? I stuffed my books into my backpack. Level 50. Tomorrow I'll go to the next map. Are you convinced? Tangxia rolled her eyes. Convinced my ass. You were level 1 yesterday, and today you're level 50? Did you level up in your dreams? Such ignorance. I slung my backpack over my shoulder. Just wait. Tomorrow, I'll show you what a true genius is. You should reach level 2 first. We bickered for a while. Then I put one hand in my pocket and turned to go home. Half an hour later, I opened the door right on time. I'm back. After changing my shoes, I had just walked into the living room when my steps suddenly stopped. On the coffee table lay a dazzling crystal. A faint glow flickered according to some rhythm. I recognized it at a glance. A connection crystal? Xiao Panchua walked out of her room. Don't be so surprised. It's for you. I suddenly looked at her. For me? Why? A single connection crystal had a market price of at least 100 million huaxia currency, and it was priceless despite having a price. Without enough connections, even if you had money, you couldn't buy one. Where did Xiao Panchua get it? She walked into the living room and sat on the sofa. I exchanged it using Imperial Capital University credits. Consider it your 18th birthday gift. As expected, universities periodically issued various missions. After students completed missions, they could earn credits. Credits could be exchanged for skill materials, equipment, potions, and even strategic resources like connection crystals. This was a benefit only university students could enjoy. It was also the reason countless people fought desperately to enter famous universities. But I knew very well, the number of credits needed to exchange for a connection crystal was definitely not small. Xiao Panchua must have saved them for an entire year. Now she had given them all to me. Sister Shui. Thank you. I didn't put on any hypocritical politeness. This connection crystal was indeed very important to me. The school could only let me enter divine punishment for a few hours every day. With a private connection crystal, I could continue farming after school. At least 4 extra hours every day. You want to compete with me in grinding? I'll go straight through the night. Xiao Panchua looked at me. Don't thank me so quickly. I gave you the crystal not so you could take it back to your room and collect it. I understand. I picked up the connection crystal. Starting today, I'll definitely work hard to level up. That's more like it. After dinner and a shower, I moved the connection crystal into my room. But after farming dungeons the entire day, my spirit was already nearly at its limit. I'll sleep for a while first. I'll recover my energy, then grind all night. I locked the door, fell onto the bed, and closed my eyes. Less than a minute later, I fell asleep. I didn't know how much time had passed before a cold sensation came from my face. Wake up, Su Yan. I opened my eyes in a daze. Xiao Panchua was sitting by the bed, patting my face with her hand. I instantly woke up. Sister Shui, how did you get in? I had clearly locked the door. But on second thought, with her strength, forget the door lock. Even punching down the wall wouldn't be a problem. That's not important. Xiao Panchua frowned at me. The college entrance exam is only 2 months away. How can you still sleep? I sat up and scratched my head. It's nighttime. If I don't sleep, what should I do? Enter divine punishment and level up. Xiao Panchua stood up. Your talent doesn't have combat ability to begin with. If you don't work harder than others, do you still want to get into university? This familiar older sister style lecture instantly awakened my childhood memories. Ever since I was young, she had never stopped managing me. Although I could now instantly kill a level 200 boss with one sanction. When facing her, I still subconsciously sat up straight. Sister Shui is right. I have deeply recognized my mistake. I'll enter divine punishment and level up immediately. Only then did Xiao Panchua's brows relax. From now on, not just tonight. Every day after school, you'll train 4 extra hours. I'll personally supervise you. Any objections? None. My answer was extremely decisive. It suited me perfectly. Xiao Panchua glanced at the time. You have 1 minute to prepare. Then follow me to Wolf King Valley. Wolf King Valley. I froze for a moment. You're going to carry me through the dungeon? What? She raised an eyebrow. You don't want to? It's not that I don't want to. I hurriedly explained. Your level is too high. If you carry me through a level 50 dungeon, not only will there be no experience, there won't even be rewards. It's completely unnecessary. Xiao Panchua crossed her arms. Who said I'm carrying you to level up? I'm taking you to observe the sword mark left by Demon Slayer. So that's it. I suddenly understood. Then I immediately revealed an exaggerated expression. You mean that Demon Slayer, known as humanity's #1 genius in 100 years, so handsome that the heavens collapse and the earth splits, so powerful that the universe trembles? Xiao Panchua gave me a strange look. Where did you see that title? Online. Netizens have good taste. I cleared my throat. Sister Shui, have you already observed it? What did you get? At this, a trace of yearning appeared in Xiao Panchua's eyes. An SSS-Rank skill book. After observing it, my strength increased quite a bit. I immediately felt a little sour inside. The sword mark was clearly left by me. Why couldn't I observe it myself? An SSS-Rank skill. I wanted one too. But very soon, I still smiled and congratulated her. Amazing. As expected of my sister Shui. Xiao Panchua sat back down by the bed and looked at me seriously. There are also people who obtained a second talent awakening opportunity. That is equivalent to rewriting one's fate. Although your tenfold absorption is S rank, it provides almost no help in combat. So, I want to take you in to try. She exchanged the connection crystal for me. Now she wanted to take me into Wolf King Valley, also for me. Warmth rose in my heart, but I could only refuse. Because that sword mark was left by me. I couldn't exactly stand in front of the words I wrote and bow to myself, could I? More importantly, level 1 was still hanging above my head. After entering, my identity would easily be exposed. Forget it. Xiao Panchua's expression darkened. Why? I've read forum analyses. I made up nonsense with a serious face. The higher your level, the higher the chance of obtaining good rewards from observing the sword mark. My current level is too low. Even if I go, I might get nothing. And I'd waste my only chance to observe it. Xiao Panchua frowned slightly. There's such a theory? Yes. Many people analyzed it that way. She thought for a moment and finally nodded. Then you really can't waste it. You level up first. Try to reach level 50 before the college entrance exam. When the time comes, I'll take you to Clear Wolf King Valley. I immediately agreed. No problem. Reaching level 50 was impossible, but I had to find a way to leave the beginner map. We chatted for a while longer. Only after I repeatedly promised that I would absolutely not slack off and would definitely enter divine punishment tonight to level up did Xiao Panchua finally stand up in satisfaction. She reached out and rubbed my hair. Our Su Yin is so obedient. Big sister is leaving. See you tomorrow. Just as she reached the door, I suddenly thought of Tang Xia. That girl had refused the rocket class because of me. She had also rejected Jiang Hao's connection crystal. Since I now had the ability, I should give her a hand. Wait, Sister Shui. Xiao Panchua turned around. What else? I asked in a deliberately casual tone. I have a deskmate. She's not very smart. She's only level 12 right now, but she wants to go to Wolf King Valley to observe the sword mark. Is there any way to let her get there safely?